to the tax man if they don't have to. Tax avoidance is one of the world's oldest businesses and a grand American tradition dating back to the Boston Tea Party. Washington State may learn a painful lesson here. If you sock it to the rich will get out of Dodge. Bezos declared that Seattle will always have a place in my heart, but not his wallet. I'm Stephen Moore, a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and a co-founder of the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. My latest book is Govzilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy.
You've been listening to the Fox News Rundown. To hear the podcast version of this program, go to foxnewspodcasts.com. And for all the latest news, go to foxnews.com.
Having repairs done in your apartment should never come with strings attached, like being harassed and constantly pressured for sexual favors.
My landlord told me my rent would be free if I gave him something in exchange.
The Fair Housing Act protects you from harassment by anyone associated with your housing, including someone making unwelcome sexual advances. If this happens to you, file a complaint with HUD. No strings attached. To learn more, visit hud.gov/fairhousing. If you fear for your safety, call 911. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-217-1155. That's 800-217-1155. 800-217-1155.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the top regulator over Wall Street, the Inspector General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, H. David Kotz, who indicates how Wall Street is rigged.
In the federal government, management is often a big challenge. Get the manager to do the right thing. It's a great concern.
The Chief Accountability Officer over the federal government, the United States Comptroller General, David Walker, further explaining the dilemma facing all Americans.
If we have another recession, the federal government doesn't have any more tools in its toolbox.
Hear these experts and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Spring Mill Manor, November 14th. Registration is required. 1-800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
In the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, get a head start on a career in exciting fields, including science, communications, engineering, and medicine, all while earning money for your education. This training will boost your eligibility for a high-paying and rewarding profession, and you can get it all while serving part-time in your community. To learn more about the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, visit nationalguard.com/PA and talk to a recruiter today. Paid for by the Pennsylvania Army National Guard.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Thursday, November 9th. It is indeed Kayal and Company, right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and, of course, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, Kayal. Dawn Stenzlin with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Anthony Dorenzo, Phil Almquist, our associate producers. Sean's in here today as well. Dawn, good morning. How was your Wednesday evening debate night?
Good morning. Great. I tried to watch both.
Both what?
You know, I watched the debate, and then I tried to watch Trump. So I was going back and forth.
Gotcha.
And then I missed Vivek calling out Nikki's daughter, and then, you know what I mean? It was just like, I missed that. And
big night for Vivek. He took everybody to task. His hair was not as coiffed as usual. He looked good. Gregory.
You think he had the best night?
He had some moments, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had the most energetic night.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was the third preseason game of the season, and the regular season kicks off in a couple of months when the big guy starts showing her up and flexing his muscle and doing what he does.
I just think if the object is, mainstream media, because this was on NBC, NBC 10 here locally in Philly, and your job is to, appeal to moderates, I guess. I don't know.
Didn't work?
Not him.
Yeah. No. It didn't.
I actually think Nikki Haley had the best night.
She was solid. I loved her opening statement. I thought DeSantis was okay as usual, and Chris Christie was very low energy, and Tim was just hanging out. Tim's having a good time. Tim's being Tim. Tim just wants to be a part of the club. So we'll get to all of that in the big take this morning. Also, a brilliant idea on how Republicans can save Pennsylvania. It involves Donald Trump, and it comes from a guy who's a friend of the program. We'll get to that this morning. Mitch McConnell, you could be on the chopping block, sir. Better be careful. Head on a swivel.
I'll believe all this when I see it.
And they took McCarthy out. They want Ronna out. Let's get Mitch while we're at it.
Yeah,
Just gut the whole system, right?
Swamp creatures be swamp creatures. It's hard to get rid of them.
It is.
They're like herpes.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Holy crap!
There's no vaccine for that.
There's not. And even if there was, it wouldn't stop the spread or prevent you from getting it.
Yeah.
You would just be forced to take it for the hell of it. Also, Jill Biden, her former staffer, our buddy, Michael LaRosa, if you remember the beginning of the show about a year ago, he is a guy that went to high school with me, graduated with me, and worked with the Bidens for a long time. He's had enough of the Bidens. He says it's time to completely change course.
What?
Well, yeah.
Really?
Little strategy shift, I think.
Are you still blocked from seeing him on Twitter?
Probably. I should try to create a burner, see if he'll respond.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And also Hunter Biden in the news as well.
For those people that weren't here at the beginning of the when you started your tenure here, he was the first person you kind of went to war with here.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't go too well.
No.
Yeah. But it was fun. And we'll see if we can try to get him somehow, some way. Yet again, I'd love to see what's wrong with the invincible Biden campaign.
I also noticed, Nick, you're wearing your Kayal & Company Free Speech Lives Here.
I am.
Hooded sweatshirt this morning.
That's correct. You're not, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I can't see
you can order all of that. 1210WPHT.com. There's the merch store there. You can order it all there.
Yeah.
While supplies last.
Get all your holiday apparel. Stuff those stockings. All right, we got a lot to get to. It's going to be a good show today. A lot of big stuff in the first hour and a half, a loaded cut sheet, and then we'll have some fun stuff on the back end of the cut sheet. But before we get to that, let's get to the news. A lot to get to. Round number 1, 6:06 Thursday morning. We give you the great Dawn Stenzlin.
Good morning. So much happening this Thursday morning, November 9th. And I'll tell you when the warm-up begins in our forecast starting out chilly, 49 degrees right now. We are sponsored by Consumer Cellular for Kayal and Company News Live this morning. So updating you on what's going on in the city of Philadelphia, police say they're investigating after two groups of teenagers or juveniles exchanged gunfire on Temple University's campus yesterday afternoon. This was before sundown. A gun battle, literally, near the 1400 block of Cecil B. Moore Avenue and Broad Street. So a security officer was right across the street when this gun battle broke out. Thank God we have no injuries reported, but the suspects were last seen running away on foot. One witness says some of the suspects may have taken off, jumped into a vehicle. We don't know if it's their vehicle or somebody else's vehicle.
Probably somebody else's.
I know, right? But we do have Jennifer Griffin, Temple's Vice President of Public Safety, who, as we know, has been under fire a whole lot, and says that surveillance cameras did capture these images of these suspects, which were then sent to the school district of Philadelphia for some assistance. So they might not even be teenagers, in other words. They might just be kids.
So,
my goodness.
So 12 years old. That's the last age before you become a teenager, huh?
Yeah, right?
Wow.
So they're literally, they have the surveillance images. They're asking anybody to call 215-686-TIPS, and they're asking for the community's help. Take a look at these kids. They're all over social media, but in a gun battle. I guess they're not a good shot. I mean, not to be facetious or anything, but they were firing upon each other but didn't hit each other.
Oh, thank God.
It's insane.
And you said Jennifer Griffin was involved with this as well?
This is Temple University's Vice President of Public Safety.
Okay.
Yes. Your alma mater.
You know, I'm against student loan bailouts. I think you should pay back your debt. As Tim Scott said, take out a loan, pay it back, with that simple message. But there should be like an embarrassment forgiveness clause for all Temple alum. So like if you're embarrassed to be a Temple grad based on with everything that goes on with that university, your loans are forgiven out of sheer pride. I would accept that, honestly.
Well, we have officers, speaking of people getting away in vehicles, we do have Philadelphia police. They were following a stolen Hyundai Genesis. It was connected to a different shooting incident. In this one, police say they chased the suspect in the stolen vehicle in North Philadelphia, and it was last night. Now, they're not connecting the dots as far as did this situation have anything to do with the so-called the Utes, the juveniles, but it was, not so far away. So police say they have arrested one individual near the scene. They were not able, they did not get the other suspect from the car, apparently. The vehicle was the stolen vehicle. It had a fraudulent Delaware paper tag. So they've confirmed that it was stolen, and officers now pulling prints from the Hyundai as they continue searching for that initial suspect.
So fake paper tags on the car.
Well, you remember in Philadelphia, we have this little thing, this little rule where they can't really pull you over for a paper tag.
Yeah, that's true.
So they know that they can get away with it.
Criminals are smart.
This is an update for this story. I know we talked about this last week. This is a grade school janitor, South Jersey, accused of some pretty sick things, tainting food and pouring, chemicals on food in the school cafeteria, is now facing child pornography charges. This is 25-year-old Giovanni Impalazzari of Vineland, New Jersey, charged with distribution of child pornography, possession of child pornography. They say this guy did not manufacture the child porn, but it was in his possession, and then he was distributing it to a network of others.
Yeah, I saw his mugshot. Another one of these guys that you just look at, and it's
creepy.
Yeah, I think he's got like either mascara on his eyes or some sort of eyeliner, but he's got something going on, so he's got all sorts of issues.
Yeah,
Yep.
He was at Elizabeth Moore School in the Upper Deerfield School District, and so now there's a delicate investigation happening, just finding out, making sure that he never touched any of the kids or anything of that nature. We don't hear any confirmation of that situation, but some of the things that he was doing, he would take a piece of bread, for example, he would spit on it, then he would put it down in his pants, rub his private parts, and then put it, so that's the way he was prepping the food.
Yeah.
Pouring bleach on different things.
So he's trying to poison and kill kids, and he also has child porn. Have fun in the slammer, pal. They're going to have a field day with you.
Oh, well said. Amen. We have police officers from multiple agencies in New Jersey searching for a man they say is wanted in connection to the January 6th riot at the Capitol. The FBI looking for 47-year-old Gregory Yetman, described in his 40s, wearing a red jacket and a baseball hat. So the police in New Jersey, State Police, Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, they're all involved in the search as they look for this guy. The public was notified. They could see choppers. They could see drones in the area. He is wanted for allegedly firing a heavy line of pepper spray toward Capitol Police. At the time of the Capitol attack, they say he was a military police sergeant in the New Jersey Army National Guard. And so we have a spokesman from them confirming that he was with them. He served in the Guard there for about 12 years, honorably discharged in March of 2022, and he's on the FBI's most wanted list.
Wow. And this is, it's been it's been 2.5, almost 3 years. So this guy, now is being pursued. Yeah. I bet you he probably thought at this point that he was probably in the clear and that they would never, find out who he is and track him down. And here we are, and they're coming after him.
So kind of a dramatic story there, and they're telling, New Jersey neighbors and so on, be cautious, they're saying, and just watch out. There might be a lot of drones and choppers. I mean, this is not Cavalcante in Chester County. I don't believe he made any threats. It's kind of strange, like you're saying, this many years later.
Yeah.
Other headlines, after the historic SAG-AFTRA actors strike, it's finally over. But it was the historically longest in Hollywood.
So now we get back to watching more shows that still aren't funny with the writers coming back. So nothing really changes for us, the consumer.
So the actors are back.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. I know we'll talk about it. Ivanka testifying in Dad's civil case, Letitia James, that happened in Manhattan. Philadelphia Phillies have decided that two-time MVP Bryce Harper is now the team's first baseman of the future.
Yeah.
Which means the franchise is also moving on from injured Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, I saw. I forget who the official for the Phillies said that it was Harper's going to be the first baseman and Schwarber will be the DH permanently. So that means Hoskins is kind of the odd man out, so to speak. Yeah,
and he still is recovering from that ACL injury, right?
Right.
So I think that was a big piece of it.
Yep.
Phils are expected to have, they say, an experienced, talented infield next season. Harper at first, Bryson Stott at second, Trey Turner at shortstop, and then Alec Bowmanator at third.
Okay.
So there we have a little Phils. We're already talking about the Phils again because we love our Phillies.
Yeah, baseball hot stove starting to heat up, Dawn.
And then Sixers yesterday, and it was a little close call at the end of the game, but Sixers beating the Boston Celtics 106-103. Joel Embiid, you are the best. We love you. It's a new team. They're getting all used to each other, but we won 106-103.
So 6-1 now. I would have thought for sure that they would have lost to Boston last night.
Really?
Yeah, Boston's really good. They always have our number, but we got to win. I'll take that. Okay.
I love it.
Feel good.
So Nick is happy.
I'm happy.
So that's good.
That's good.
And I think you're going to be happy with the forecast. Maybe a little tea time from Bill down the hall from B101 or something. I don't know.
I'm not going to turn it down.
It's 40. It's actually 47 right now and cloudy. However, this afternoon, 68 beautiful degrees. It'll kind of feel like a spring-like day. Crisp, clear skies, 68 degrees. For your Friday tomorrow, back down on the roller coaster here, 51 degrees and cloudy for your Friday the 10th. And then Veterans Day. I know many commemorations, celebrations, and for to honor our military veterans on Saturday, 55 degrees. It'll be a happy birthday to little Patrick Thioli, by the way. But I will remind you that Saturday, Veterans Day, we also have those two rallies by that pro-Palestine Philly group that will be holding demonstrations on Broad Street and in Delaware in front of Joe Biden's house. So no rain on them either.
Okay.
Consumer Cellular sponsors our news, our weather, our sports. Consumer Cellular offering the exact same nationwide 5G coverage as the major carriers, even in bumper-to-bumper traffic. They're 100% U.S.-based support, just a click or call away. Plus, activation's always free. Visit consumercellular.com. Switch today. Consumer Cellular, thank you for sponsoring our first news, Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, John, thank you very much. 6:16 Thursday morning. Let's get to another big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, the big take this morning, RNC take 3 in the GOP. Last night at 8 o'clock on NBC, we had the third Republican primary debate in Miami, Florida. NBC nightly news anchor Lester Holt, Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker, Philly girl, and radio host Hugh Hewitt were the 3 moderators of the debate. Now, the GOP, as you know, had 5 candidates that qualified, and they were Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott. Prior to the broadcast beginning, here is how their introductions went last night before the debate began. Listen and watch this.
And not him be the Republican nominee to face Joe Biden a year from now. This country is in trouble, and the elites that have put us here, they don't care about you. They don't care that you're having to grapple with higher grocery prices or have higher gas prices. They don't care that your family's less secure because of the open border that's allowed drugs and even terrorists to come into this country. Well, I care. I am not going to sit idly by and let this country continue its downward spiral. We need leadership, and we need it now. I'll take the hits, I'll take the arrows, I'll take the slings, because ultimately it's not about me. It's about you. I will fight for you. I will make sure to lead this country's revival, and I will win for you and your family. Actions speak louder than words. We don't have time for excuses, and it's not something that we're going to be able to have all these distractions. As a veteran, I will get the job done. Now, if you look where we are now, it's a lot different than where we were in 2016. And Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
That was Ron DeSantis last night, the governor of Florida, with the intro question on why it should be him instead of Donald Trump. And I give him credit for the statement. He's absolutely a leader, as shown by his command over the state of Florida and his effective policies as the state goes deeper red. Next up, we had Nikki Haley, who hit on a handful of key points that DeSantis failed to mention. Listen and watch Nikki from South Carolina.
You know, everybody wants to talk about President Trump. Well, I can talk about President Trump. I can tell you that I think he was the right president at the right time. I don't think he's the right president now. I think that he put us $8 trillion in debt, and our kids are never going to forgive us for that. I think the fact that he used to be right on Ukraine and foreign issues, now he's getting weak in the knees and trying to be friendly again. I think that we've got to go back to the fact that we can't live in the past. We can't live in other headlines. We've got to start focusing on what's going to make America strong and proud. And that's what I'm focused on doing. Let's make sure we pay down our debt. I think we need an accountant in the White House. Let's make sure that we have transparency in the classroom. As a mom, I know what that means. Let's make sure we secure our borders so that our families are safe. Let's get crime down, because our families want to know that they can be safe no matter where they go. And as the wife of a combat veteran, I will tell you, a military needs to know we have our back, and we need to make sure that America is strong.
Ambassador, thank you very much.
Very impressive from Nikki Haley as she continues to show why she has a 9-point lead over Joe Biden in a potential matchup. And then we get to Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, I've said lately I think I've been a bit down on Vivek. I thought he had peaked a little bit, had his little run, had his moment in the sun, but was starting to flatline a little bit. Well, maybe he was listening to me, and maybe he was listening to us on Kayal and Company, because he shut me up last night and he came out swinging. Listen and watch this introduction.
Swami, let me.
I think there's something deep.
Why should you be the nominee? Why should you be the nominee and not to make your case? Why would you? Swami, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why would you? Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer to the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you?
Oh, wow. How about that? Vivek Ramaswamy flipping the script on the NBC panelists, flipping the script on Kristen Welker. The look on the Philly girl's face was quite hilarious if you're watching. And good for Vivek. Maybe Vivek should replace Ronna McDaniel as the chairman of the RNC. And then finally, we get to Chris Christie, the big, bad, braggadocious guy that loves to butt heads with Donald Trump. But last night in the introductions, he was super low energy. Judge for yourself. Listen and watch.
We are dealing with extraordinarily important issues facing this country right now. We have our greatest ally in the Middle East under fire from a terrorist group that has committed to wiping them and every Jewish person in this world off the map. We have Ukraine with Vladimir Putin, a communist KGB dictator who wants to put the old band back together. He's starting in Ukraine, and he's going to move to the Baltics and Poland after that. We have inflation in this country that is choking every American family that wants to try to rise up and give their children a better life. And tonight, we need to decide which president is going to be the one to tackle the big issues, who's going to make this country look once again, not just inward, but look outward at the world and say America is the country, the indispensable nation that makes this a safer world. And in a safer world, American innovation, American hard work has always been the thing that has driven our country to greater things. I'm going to be the president who will do those big things. We're not going to be small, and I'll say this about Donald Trump. Anybody who's going to be spending the next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party or this country,
Right,
and it needs to be said plainly.
Governor, thank you. Let me turn to Senator.
Almost no response from the crowd. Easily the most quiet reaction from the audience. I would say not a great moment from Chris Christie. Tim Scott was there. He didn't really say much again, but he's just happy to be there. He's one of the 5 left standing. Great guy. Made a great message months ago, but he is what he is. He's a senator. I would give DeSantis a B+ from last night. Nikki Haley, B+, A-. I would give Vivek an A, but if you were trying to win people over, as Greg mentioned earlier in the show this morning about getting the moderates, not sure that was accomplished last night. But the reality is this was nothing more than a JV production as the varsity was holding a rally 10 minutes away. But the Trump support inside of the Republican primary was palpable. Now, prior to going live on NBC television, a handful of Trump chants broke out at the debate, and the NBC producers had to tell them to be respectful and please stop. Listen and watch this.
We're so excited.
It's over. It's been over since Donald Trump started being indicted by the weaponized Biden DOJ. It's been over for DeSantis ever since his failed Twitter Spaces launch and not resonating with people outside of Florida. And most recently, we were debating whether or not he was wearing lifts in his boots. Chris Christie resonates with very few people. Vivek has a lot of spunk. He shined last night, but he's nothing more than a piece of the puzzle. at this current time in his young political career. And I think Nikki would make a solid vice president, but I don't know that that will happen. And Tim Scott, well, again, he's Tim Scott. It's a wrap. Just end the charade once and for all, because if it wasn't for Trump's legal battles looming over his campaign, some of these contenders might have disappeared by now anyway. And maybe it's time that they do. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And, of course, on YouTube, just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community. We'll get thoughts and reactions to the GOP from last night, as well as Donald Trump, and also a brilliant idea for how Pennsylvania can take back the state, how the Republicans can really get this thing going in the right direction. We'll get to that as we continue. Kayal and Company, hour number 1 on a Thursday morning, and we're back after this.
With the Eagles on a bye this week, you're probably thinking, what am I watching on Sunday? Well, how about this? Put a little skin in the game, and it'll make these games a lot more fun. San Francisco at Jacksonville, the 1 o'clock Sunday game. San Francisco is -164. You put $5 on that and get $150 if San Francisco wins. FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, place a $5 bet on any moneyline bet, and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. Honestly, it's the best time with the Eagles in the bye because you can make some of these games more interesting. You can bet on everything from the spreads to player props, over-unders, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg right now. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, President PA. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms of sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wherever the road takes you this holiday, make it memorable in the ultimate driving machine. Step into the BMW X5 with capable performance, cutting-edge technology, and unmistakable presence. Or chart a different course in the BMW X3. With style and powerful all-terrain versatility, there's no limit to your adventure. Find your ultimate BMW X3 or X5 at the Road Home sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Hurry in for a credit of up to $3,000 on select models now through November 30th. Visit BMWCenters.com today.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. I'm joined here today by my friend, the co-president and CEO of Cooper University Healthcare, the one and only Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. Dr. Maz and I are here to tell you about our buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria. Not only is he my dentist, he's my family's dentist as well. And not sure if you knew this, he's Dr. Maz's dentist too.
That's right, Rich. Dr. Mike Veneria is and has been my dentist also. And, you know, doctors choosing doctors, that can be quite a selective process. And not only do I go to them, but for years, my sister and my niece and my nephew, the whole family goes.
Well, it's no secret. We're all delighted by the care that Dr. Mike Veneria and his award-winning team provide, and you need to check him out.
Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, implant dentistry, you don't need to look any further. Dr. Veneria's office does everything. Dr. Veneria's office also exceeds all CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control, like their centralized UV sterilization of airflow, which is incredibly important to me.
Locations are right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Your perfect smile's waiting. Call 856-786-2020 or visit veneriadental.com.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol-Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb.
Introducing new AmeriHealth Medicare Advantage plans for New Jersey. The Medicare annual enrollment period runs through December 7th. Now is the perfect time to think about the benefits you need in a Medicare Advantage plan. AmeriHealth has helped protect New Jersey residents for nearly 30 years. It's a great feeling to have a health plan that takes care of you. From a company you trust. A health plan for everyone. Get your Medicare questions answered. Visit AmeriHealthMedicare.com/2024 today.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
6:31. It is Kayal and Company. Good to have you guys in here on a Thursday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. 855-839-1210. So a couple of things to get into from last night with the debate. I thought, there was a moment last night, especially when we're talking about abortion after everything that played out the last couple of days with these elections. And, you go into a night where, okay, it's the third time around. It's on a mainstream media channel like NBC 10. You've got Lester Holt. You've got Kristen Welker. You're coming off of these losses to Ohio, to Virginia, to Kentucky, where the Republicans had bad nights in states that they should be winning or putting up much better fights. And you had a quote that I thought was interesting from Trump, where Trump said, basically, cancel the RNC debates and, quote, refocus the manpower of the GOP to defeating President Biden. And here all along, we've been tracking all these polls. Trump's up well over 40 points on people, and they've tried to goad him into taking the bait. Remember, DeSantis said, I'd love to see Donald show up if he, quote, has the balls to debate. Chris Christie calling him Donald Duck, and yet here you are, Trump, he's counter-programming about 10, 15 minutes away. And if you saw the way that rally was going, really big crowd, good energy. And then I just thought it was hysterical because a lot of people would not have seen this because it was not aired on television. But prior to the broadcast starting at 8 o'clock, as I played for you in the big take, they have Trump chants breaking out. And it felt like the school play where like one of the teachers has to tell everybody to calm down because everybody's worked really hard and let's not put on a fiasco in a circus and let's give everybody their ample opportunity. The crowd, I just think for the most part was looking for something to latch onto, and I don't know that they got it last night from those 5 individuals, although I think Nikki was good and I thought Vivek had moments, but it was pretty much as I expected it to be. And I don't know that there was any shift in a messaging following these failed elections of 2023 where, like to your point, Greg, you're going to win over maybe the independent or the moderate out there that for some reason is still attainable, so to speak.
Yeah, and I thought it was actually media malpractice that they waited until 9:40 last night, or they're around to talk about the election that happened the day before, and the sweeping defeat and the abortion issue.
Yeah,
and that should have been. Again, the first question was about Trump.
It's always about Trump, and it's always about the past. How are the Republican Party and these individuals up there supposed to be progressive from the standpoint of thinking forward with a vision for the future and how to get America up out of the gutters if we're always going to relitigate the past or talk about an individual? Like, I'm just waiting for one day for one of these people, whether it's DeSantis, and he's probably the most bombastic, but after last night, I would argue Vivek probably has more spunk, but Vivek's not going to ruffle the feathers because Vivek's a Trump fanboy. Just for somebody to say, I'm not answering any more questions about Donald J. Trump. I am Vivek Ramaswamy. I am a candidate. I don't care about that guy. Like that's what I would do if I'm one of these people.
Well,
Make it about me.
Then he shouldn't be Trump light.
Well, that's true. That's true, and it would never come out of his mouth.
Mini Trump.
That whole opening statement, whereas people in talk radio and people who listen to the show are like, yeah, like that resonates with absolutely nobody.
I know
him going after this. So this should be about Joe Rogan should be moderating this, and Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk. Like that resonates. Yes, with the hardcore,
with a younger audience
supporter. Yeah, it does, but it's.
And I don't think he meant to make it personal about Kristen Welker specifically.
Oh no, he did.
Because you think?
Yeah.
I think it was more of an indictment against all of mainstream media for them all taking the hook, line, and sinker bait of Hillary and Russia collusion. Because you got to remember, Kristen Welker, relatively new in that position. I think she was just the bystander that had to take the brunt of it for all of mainstream media with the way they kind of cover up for all this nonsense.
Look, he went in there, I think, with nothing to lose. He went in there
Correct.
with a blowtorch and just torched everybody. And I think I kind of I'm making the statement right now at 6:36 on November 9th that I think that was Vivek's last stand.
I could see that. I could see that for sure.
And I think he knows that, and I think that's why he went out swinging like that.
Okay.
I think he had to come out swinging. He had to be different. And I think Greg's 100% on the point.
Yeah.
That Vivek had to have a different lane.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get the attention and just make a wow statement.
Yes.
To try to shake things up.
Yes, I agree. And we talk about shaking things up, and we'll get to Mitch McConnell in a couple of minutes, as well as Ronna McDaniel. We know Kevin McCarthy has been ousted. Mike Johnson is in. But I just looked at it last night from the standpoint of, if you're going to make a splash, I thought you had to do it with the losing cause, which is abortion. Now, some of that is on the moderators and NBC for, in a 2-hour presentation, waiting an hour and 40 minutes to get to it. But did anybody say anything remotely newsworthy that would be like, oh, okay, I'm open to that?
I think Nikki Haley had the best answer on the abortion issue.
Okay.
And I think, to be honest with you, she's the best combatant, in my opinion, for the GOP for the abortion issue.
Just because she's female by default?
Well,
messaging?
I don't want to say that because that sounds sexist, but yes.
She did have the most moderate answer, Greg.
Yeah, she did.
But as a woman, too.
Let me play it. Can I play it for you guys?
Absolutely.
All right, this is what Nikki Haley said on abortion last night.
Ambassador Haley, let me have you weigh in. Former President Trump has consistently blamed the abortion issue and how Republican candidates have talked about it for their electoral losses. How do you see the path forward?
I've said it before. I think you have to be honest with the American people. This is a personal issue for every woman and every man. I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband Michael was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children. So I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, when you look post-Roe, a wrong was made right. They took it out of the hands of unelected justices and they put it in the hands of the people. And now we're seeing states vote. And what I'll tell you is, as much as I'm pro-life, I don't judge anyone for being pro-choice, and I don't want them to judge me for being pro-life. So when we're looking at this, there are some states that are going more on the pro-life side. I welcome that. There are some states that are going more on the pro-choice side. I wish that wasn't the case, but the people decided. But when it comes to the federal law, which is what's being debated here, be honest, it's going to take 60 Senate votes, a majority of the House, and a president to sign it. So no, we haven't had 60 Senate votes in over 100 years. We might have 45 pro-life senators. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban these state laws. So let's find consensus. Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions and good quality adoptions. Let's make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none of these state laws put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty for getting an abortion. Let's focus on how to save as many babies as we can and support as many moms as we can. And stop the judgment. We don't need to divide America over this issue anymore.
I think it's a really good answer. Well thought out. She's saying, you don't judge me, I won't judge you. We'll take it from a federal issue and kick it back down to the states and let the people decide. I don't find that to be divisive, combative, ignorant. She's basically saying that she's pro-life, and she gives you her first-hand account of adoption. And she also says, even though she's not pro-choice, that she kind of respects that as well. So I have no problem with that. And that's coming out of a female's voice. I think that carries a lot of weight. Absolutely. So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I think she's the best person to combat that, in my opinion, right?
Yes, I agree with you, but I think Republicans just continue to get played on the issue because part of the issue here is the politics of abortion. Planned Parenthood, if you look back in 2020, they gave just one campaign was $45 million to the 2020 elections, $50 million in 2022. They give a ton of money to candidates, and then I believe that our government, our tax dollars, I believe, are helping to subsidize them. It's basically like a money laundering operation, if you want to ask me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to, when we look at the issue of abortion, there's big money in it.
Yep.
And what do we always say? Follow the money. And so career politicians know that this is low-hanging fruit. either on the pro-life side or on the pro-choice side. They raise a ton of money. You got Planned Parenthood, who's given a lot of money by the Democrats, and they then give, tons of money, $50 million per campaign cycle. Where do they get all that money? $50 million? So we got to get the money out of this whole thing. We have to own it and figure it out and make it so that career politicians are not incentivized to not solve these issues.
Yeah. And Nikki Haley had a good night prior to the debate as well, as her camp comes out and says Trump is a loser, DeSantis is a loser, and they go on to say the following in this quote: "To beat Biden and save America, the data is conclusive. Trump is a loser, DeSantis is a loser, Haley is a winner," end quote. So, you talk about Vivek being on one last night and coming out firing. Nikki was coming out firing as well, which is a very interesting stance because she went after the number one guy and then the guy that's kind of been in the number two spot but has also kind of fallen off a little bit. So I think it's been interesting. And I do. One of the common themes I saw yesterday was there was a few, it was like 3 bullet points following the losses to Kentucky, or in Kentucky, Virginia, and Ohio. And it was, if Republicans want to win, they need to get a better message and plan on abortion. They need to take advantage of mail-in balloting, and they have to ditch Trump. Those were like the 3 things that that was like the kind of the common theme of all the people that are sick of the losing. But I've got an idea on the other side, and actually it's not even my idea. It comes from somebody else, but I think it's really brilliant. We'll get into that, and also speculation about Mitch McConnell's future as well. We've already seen Matt Gaetz get his wish. Kevin McCarthy has been ousted. Everybody wants Ronna McDaniel gone yesterday. And also now Mitch McConnell in the crosshairs, as we might be on the verge of seeing sweeping changes within the GOP. We'll get to that as we wrap up Hour 1. Next, it's Kayal and Company live here on this Thursday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. But first, let me tell you about my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. There are many reasons why I love working with these individuals. They have taken care of me since February. Got me in my Honda Ridgeline truck before Memorial Day at the end of May. And one of the things that has been great in the last couple of weeks is they are constantly showing me and telling me about all of their new toys, their new gadgets, and their new accessories. And one of them is at the Piazza Honda of Westchester on Route 202. I was introduced to the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5, and this is a fully electric vehicle, and it is powerful. Make no mistake about it. 320 horsepower and a 300-mile range. You can take advantage of a complimentary home charger and up to a $600 installation credit with a purchase or lease at Piazza Hyundai of Westchester and Pottstown. Or you can just shop online at piazzaautogroup.com and also take advantage of their legendary warranty. Hyundai, that is, 10 years, 100,000 miles. Tell them Nick sent you.
Life can get hectic. It's easy to lose focus and balance. Wouldn't you love to retreat from the noise? Take a breath. Regain your inner peace. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's largest Catholic retreat house. Our stunning campus is the perfect place to step back, reflect, and recharge. Malvern Retreat House hosts men's and women's retreats, helping individuals live life centered on Christ. Go to malvernretreat.com to discover your journey. Retreat from the noise. Hear God's voice.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
SAG-AFTRA has reached a tentative agreement with the Hollywood studios, moving to end an almost 4-month strike. United Nations says about 50,000 Palestinians fled southward from northern Gaza on Wednesday, most of them on foot. Abortion, immigration, and social security were among the topics at Wednesday night's GOP presidential debate.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
I can't wait for what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
Want a hot investment tip? Get a new roof. When installed correctly, with the correct shingles and venting, you can save loads of cash on your heating and cooling bills. Plus, it adds to your home value. Trust PJ Fitzpatrick to get it done right, with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. PJ Fitzpatrick has thousands of 5-star reviews and over 40 years of experience. They can install most roofs in one day. Visit trustpj.com today to set up a free design consultation and take advantage of generous fall promotions.
Hey, Mount Laurel. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
.648, it is Kayal Company. It's a Thursday morning. Good to have everybody in here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. You can get in at 855-839-1210. What's on the cut sheet? Coming up 7:45 this morning. We will kick off some news, hour number 2 with Dawn in just a couple of minutes. And also, it's not looking good in the Biden camp as a former Jill Biden staffer, who I know personally, apparently says, you know what, these poll numbers, unacceptable. Time to change things up. We will get to that as we continue. Also, how New Jersey was dominated by Democrats, some takeaways from that. And also, our buddy Athan Koutsarumbis from Real Clear Politics with a very well thought out, distinct plan on how the GOP can win back Pennsylvania. We will get to that here in a couple of minutes. And also, Mitch McConnell's future now in question as well. But a little levity, a little humor, a couple of laughs here as we wrap up our debate coverage from last night. They did this a few weeks ago, I think, on the second debate, or maybe it was the first debate. I know they've done it in one of the first two, but they did this again yesterday. This was a spoof on social media, a great parody. This is two things can be true at once. This is why the internet is phenomenal. And this is also what happens when you're a human being and you have way too much time on your hands. You put together something like this. If you've ever heard of the Thursday night football music in the NFL, the music will sound very familiar. Here was the introduction starting lineups of the 5 GOP candidates last night. Take a listen.
Ron DeSantis, High Heels University.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald Trump Fan Club.
Nikki Birdbrain Haley, Bush War Crime Institute.
Tim Scott, I'm just happy to be here. Chris Christie, Golden Corral Station.
Golden Corral Station. Chris Christie did not have a good night last night. I did not really see him get super energetic for anything. And that will lead me to somebody that is ultimately very, very low energy. And I am all for this. I want, after seeing the way things went on election night 2 nights ago, November 7th, I've reached my wit's end with these establishment losers that get nothing accomplished. And I know it's probably I'm just blowing off steam and it's just hot air and nothing will happen. But I'd like to introduce one speck of evidence that says it is possible, because a lot of people wanted Kevin McCarthy out. A lot of Republicans, a lot of voters, a lot of people within the party, the Matt Gaetzes of the world, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, They're tired of, quote, the uniparty and rhinos and every other phrase that we come up with. And they ultimately got their wish. Now, it might have been an embarrassment, a charade, and a fiasco to get to Mike Johnson. And I don't know, maybe Mike Johnson has some stuff on him that is probably not too pleasant either. But they got what they wanted. So you can't say it's not going to happen because we just saw that it can happen. So a lot of people want Ronna McDaniel out after all these losses. She had the audacity to come out last night and say, "We are looking forward to our third debate in Miami, a welcome opportunity for our candidates to showcase our winning conservative agenda to the American people." It's amazing the job security that she has. It's like, boy, your father's a senator, so it doesn't matter how many times you lose, you get to keep your job. But if you think about all the losses in the last 5 years, from 2018 through now, at every level of elections, and how the Republicans keep losing, eventually you got to shake it up and make changes. And getting rid of McCarthy is not enough. Getting rid of Ronna McDaniel is not enough. I'm not sure that getting rid of Trump is the solution. I think Trump right now is the only guy that can beat Joe Biden. And I'm not saying he absolutely will, but I do think he has a better chance now than he has had at any point in the last calendar year. And then you also look at people like Mitch McConnell. And I'm reading this headline, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. It says, "The race to replace Mitch McConnell as GOP leader is already on. The rumors about McConnell's potential exit have led his would-be successors to try to, as a senior GOP aide put it, one-up each other at every turn." So do we think that this is possible? And then who is going to become the leader of the Senate? Because Mitch, a lot like some other people on the left, if we're going to be fair, he's up there in age. He's had some health scares. He had that moment where he froze up for 20 seconds. Nobody really knows what that was. Did he have a stroke? Was it something else? We've never really been told, other than that he's okay and he'll be fine. But I think now more than ever, yes, we want it, but I think also it's achievable. If there's enough of a groundswell and there are certain people in office like the Matt Gaetzes, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, the people that are far more conservatives than others in the Republican Party, I do think it is achievable. And this is not an original idea from me. I saw people yesterday, before and after the debate, saying Vivek Ramaswamy would make a great RNC chairperson and would be great replacing Ronna McDaniel. Whether you buy that or not, it's a suggestion. It's a start. And I'm willing to entertain the idea. I really am. So I don't know if anybody...
Can you imagine, Nick? Can you imagine it? Because we think we get up early. You know that he's up at like 2:45.
Who, Vivek?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a
this
fire
man,
plug.
He has so much energy. He'll be like, "Are you up? I got an idea.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the studio and create our own network." And you know what I mean?
I can fatigue from people too much. I have an expiration date and a shelf life on a lot of people. I could see myself advocating for Vivek now, and then he becomes that individual, and 6 months in, I'm like, I've heard enough of the guy already. Like, just shut up already.
I love him. I mean, I have to say, I love his enthusiasm, and I love his energy, and I love his attitude of, and just little things last night. Like when he said, go to a zero budget. In other words, and this is what we all do in real life. And that's what he's talking about, right? To say every year, look at your budget from zero. What do you really need?
Yep.
I loved some of the ideas and the the freshness that he brings to that table and his youth.
Yeah, as a CEO, him on the fiscal crisis that's happening in this country, I think he'd be absolutely. He gave the best answer.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones gave typical. Well, we'll try this and we'll try this and let's frack and let's all of this stuff.
Right.
He had the most logical response to it as somebody who's run a business who knows how to get that, like Dawn said, line item to zero.
Mm-hmm.
He's super intelligent. Like he's off the charts bright.
He is.
But I wonder if there's some people out there that are actually listening to the show this morning that question his authenticity. Is he a little too swarmy? Is he a little too polished? Is he so smart that he just kind of memorized all the talking points and you really wonder if he's truly invested in what he's saying, because he puts on a good presentation, But there is a part of me that says, and it's a different phoniness than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy just kind of feels like a used car salesman, so to speak. Vivek, I don't know. I wonder if he really believes in some of the things he says.
Nick, I think he does.
Okay.
And he is, he is putting his own money where his mouth is because he's a billionaire. He's a self-made guy. Grew up in Ohio, not from wealthy people. And I think that he is obviously very, he was that Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? When he was like a first grader, they were giving him 8th grade classes.
Yep.
So I think he is. I think he's authentic. He's just, look, he's frustrated. It's got to be a little frustrating to be around a lot of career politicians. And so I think there's that. But I think he is authentic. I think he's an important voice moving forward in the future. And like Greg said, to have him, whether he's, like you said, part of the RNC and working on media, or whether he's part of finance or AI. But I did, when Nick, when you were talking about Ronna McDaniel, and then you were talking about Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, all in one mouthful. So I put all of them in DuckDuckGo, and up came an article with all of them in there, that they're an important trio that you're talking about. And I thought that was brilliant that you put, I just want to point this out, that you put those three together with Mitch McConnell, because Kevin McCarthy down.
Yep.
Now we're hearing about Ronna, who, as we know, there was that weird, remember that secret ballot thing, and she was reelected last January, and I know we talked, and that was sort of bizarre, and she was challenged by Armit Dillon. But it was kind of strange, and a lot of people were calling in to the Kayal Company here and saying, what happened with that? How did Ronna pull that out of there?
Right.
But I thought that was brilliant of you to put that trio together, because I think that is something to watch. The old guard, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Ronna McDaniel, those three are buddies.
Yep. They want to, and that's pretty unanimous that most people want all of them out at the same time. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. Dawn will have some news to kick off hour number 2. How you can save Pennsylvania, why New Jersey was lost, and also some trouble within the Biden camp, and Hunter Biden has officially been subpoenaed, along with James Biden. We'll get to those details as we get towards the cut sheet at 7:45 here on Kayal Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now, or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-217-1155. That's 800-217-1155. 800-217-1155.
WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Looking for a new Ford? Winter Ford has the vehicle for you. Choose from our large selection of new F-150s, Explorers, Escapes, and Bronco Sports today. Winter Ford also takes care of you after the sale. Stop in their service department with no appointment necessary. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
Hi, this is Don Giordano. Are you concerned about your child struggling in school? Do they need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown. 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. need. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2 to 1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for that no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today, 800-300-0003.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville with Paul Wyants and Brendan Donegan, Saturday, November 18th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have started a huge renovation. Take our already incredibly generous offers and add an additional $1,000 off all new Volvos, plus owner loyalty, plus up to $2,000 when financing or leasing with Volvo cars, plus $7,500 lease rebate on all plug-in Volvos. This is a fabulous time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo. This month's offers are incredible, and we must make space for all the construction vehicles. Visit us now.
Kayal and Company mornings. Rich Cioli afternoons. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And all the birds in the trees.
Kayal and Company, as we continue. Welcome back in. 7:04, hour number 2 underway. Here on this Thursday morning, Nick, Dawn, and Greg. What's on the cut sheet coming up? 7:45 this morning. Also, the growing call for the Biden administration to overhaul their team. We'll get to that story. Hunter Biden and James Biden to be deposed in the Joe Biden impeachment inquiry from House Republicans. And also a very interesting thread from our buddy Athan Koutsarumbis on how Donald Trump and the GOP can save Pennsylvania if maybe they come up with a plan like this. And I thought it was really well thought out. We'll get to that here in a couple of minutes. But let's get to the news. 7:05 on this Thursday morning, round number 2. And for that, we give you the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning. Kayal and Company News Live sponsored this morning by Piazza Auto Group. I'll have the full forecast in just a moment. And this as police officers from multiple agencies across our region, including the FBI, searching in New Jersey and in the region, searching for a man they say wanted in connection to the January 6th riot at the Capitol, identifying 47-year-old Gregory Yetman, described in his 40s, wearing a red jacket and a baseball hat, choppers overhead and drones as they're trying to search him throughout New Jersey. They say that they've notified the public to expect those choppers and drones. And they say that he's wanted for allegedly firing a heavy line of pepper spray toward Capitol Police, the FBI naming him as on their most wanted list. So he served, we know, in the New Jersey Army National Guard for about 12 years. Not sure why this is all coming up years later, but apparently at some point he was questioned by authorities and had denied any of this that they had accused him of. And now at this point, I'm inferring and reading between the lines in some of these reports that I'm looking at that we know that all of that video was being looked at still from the Capitol. So perhaps there's new video surveillance imaging that...
Well, they said they had 41,000 hours of raw footage. So
they're going through it.
So is this guy is he on the run, so to speak, or they just can't find him?
There's the piece of this, Nick, is that apparently there's a group known as the Independent Sedition Hunters.
Independent Sedition Hunters.
So they are not law enforcement.
Yeah.
But they're sedition hunters, like bounty hunter.
Oh my!
And so they're a group of, I don't know, skilled Karens, if you will,
right,
who are looking for January 6th folks.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I've never heard of them, the Sedition Hunters.
Not me neither.
But apparently they were online identifying him.
Okay.
And that's how this all came about.
So these are not government employees, so to speak.
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Which, by the way, remember our unhinged Democrat that we played for you yesterday, ranting and raving in Virginia?
Yes.
We found out he is actually a government employee. He works for like the Health and Human Services Department.
What a shocker.
I saw that yesterday. Yeah.
So that's going on in South Jersey. Here in Philadelphia, a couple important stories. One is Sloppy Doc rather than John Doherty. So they're saying now in the trial of former Biggity Big union boss here in Philadelphia on trial, accused by the feds, by prosecutors, as embezzling money from his beloved union, IBEW. So we've seen testimony now from staffers who say, in fact, and his defense attorneys who claim, no, this was sloppy record keeping of union expenses, a mistake, but not a fraud.
Okay.
So that's what they're going with, and they had a lot of testimony over the last day and a half that we're hearing now from those saying it wasn't unusual for him to show up with just bags and bags of that were stuffed with months of receipt. And so he had to, and remember we talked about the Target receipts, death by 1,000 Target. So I guess he would show up with like Target bags full of receipts.
So in a lot of ways, it's the same defense as Trump has for the $130,000 with Stormy Daniel. They're calling it basically a bookkeeping error, so to speak.
Clerical. I guess that he was supposed to put in for different receipts, but because this feds went through tens of thousands of all these receipts and said that it was embezzlement. He was saying, I bought this stuff these were genuine job expenses.
Gotcha.
One of the aides or the secretaries also testified that it wasn't unusual that he would frequently pad time cards for employees that he felt were maybe underpaid, were working extra hard, were going through hardships. And he would kind of take care of people.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, add 5 extra hours for so-and-so because, their wife is sick and they've been working really hard and yada, yada, yada. So that, making him, painting him as a benevolent individual, but not taking this for himself.
Gotcha.
So that's the update on the Johnny Doc federal embezzlement. Now, the feds, on the other hand, say, no, this guy embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars from his own union, Local 98 of the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. That's your update there. We've been talking all morning here on Kayal & Company about last night's GOP debate, the third one, 5 Republican presidential candidates facing off. And Nick Kayal did his great big take. If you missed it on that one, of course, as he mentioned, former President Trump skipping the debate as usual, as he's done previously. He instead was headlining that rally of his own just a few miles away in the Miami area in Hialeah. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Hunter and James Biden, President Joe Biden's son and brother, House Republicans, continuing with laser focus, looking at potential impeachable offenses. That headline, Israel claiming now that Hamas is no longer in full control of Gaza. So overnight, more action, and IDF Israeli officials claiming they destroyed some 130 Hamas tunnel shafts, if you will, amid the expansion of their ground operation there in Gaza. So that update, still no word on hundreds, those 240 plus people kidnapped.
So in less than a month, essentially, since the IDF and the U.S. troops have kind of honed in on Hamas, they are no longer in majority control. So, I mean, is it fair to start thinking that this could be something where we, as far as the United States, kind of get out of there, so to speak, in relatively quick fashion? Because I don't think Hamas is going to take more than a couple of months to obliterate. This is not Hezbollah or any other stronger group, so to speak. I mean, yeah, their tunnels are intricate, and they've got an agenda for sure and a will to kill themselves in the name of what they're fighting for. But this doesn't seem to me like it should take more than 3 or 4 months. If they took control, if they're no longer in a majority control in 3 weeks, I mean, I think the writing might be on the wall for them.
Yeah, and to your point, that's what the latest that they're saying that and this is the IDF, the Israelis reporting on this, saying that those Hamas terrorists, they no longer are in control of the region of Gaza. The question is, to Nick, to your point, how long will the U.S. stay there to sort of stabilize things with Iran and others?
Yep.
Those are the questions looming. On a lighter, brighter note, Tracy Chapman wins the CMA, the Country Music Awards, for Fast Car decades after her song's debut. We talked about this. Her 1988 hit song, Fast Car, won Song of the Year at the CMAs, thanks to a cover, of course, by Luke Combs that brought the tune back into the highlight.
So they didn't give the award to Luke Combs for, I mean, this is a...
Well, he didn't write it.
Well, I know he didn't, but so how can a song from 1980-something win something for a 2023 award?
Because it's new now, so the award goes to whoever wrote the song.
That's the protocol?
Sure.
Oh. Yeah. I like both versions. Although, remember, we were told the Luke Combs version had
it was
racist dog whistles.
Yeah.
Well, maybe nobody will say that anymore now that she was up there accepting it, and you know, and they realize she's making a ton of money.
Did she see Luke Combs? Did they shake hands or hug or anything like that?
I have to look back. I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I will look that up for you if they, she has come out and thanked him.
Oh, that's good.
So that's
well, I mean, she should.
Right?
He made her.
That's what I'm saying.
S ton of money.
Yes, that's kind of my whole point here. Dorenzo says Tracy is better. Stop it.
I don't disagree with him.
I agree.
I think that the Tracy Chapman version I think is better.
Yeah, no question.
But it's fun, to your point, that an entire generation who maybe didn't know the song got to know it.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. You know what else is? Piazza Auto Group, thank you for sponsoring our news this morning. Visit Piazza Volkswagen of Ardmore and Langhorne. Test drive the 2023 Volkswagen Atlas, Atlas Cross Sport, Tiguan, and much more. You can always shop online, piazzavw.com today. Piazza Auto Group sponsoring us. And the NBC 10 First Alert Forecast, real quick here. A gorgeous day, 68 degrees, sunny skies. We're only 49 right now with cloudy skies, but we will clear out and warm up big time for your Thursday. And then tomorrow, Friday, clouds returning, 52 degrees. Saturday, 56 degrees for our Veterans Day and all the commemorations across the region and across the nation. Saturday the 11th, 56 degrees, mostly sunny. Sunday, much cooler, 49 degrees and partly sunny. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. So I want to get to what Athen Koutsarumbis laid out in a very well worded tweet about how Pennsylvania and how Trump and the Republicans can take back this state. But before that, the latest polling is out from Emerson, and this is in the battleground states. Trump leads Joe Biden in Georgia by 8 points, by 4 points in Pennsylvania, by 3 in Nevada, 2 in Arizona. They are tied in Wisconsin, and Joe Biden with a 2-point advantage in the state of Michigan. So we're trying to make sense of, once again, why Republicans fail when we are sitting and living through failed policies of Democrats. And I thought Athen laid out a really good thread last night on Twitter. I retweeted it if you want to read it yourself. And I've had lunch with Athan Koutsarumbis from Real Clear Politics probably 3 or 4 times, and he's always meticulous in his strategy. He has worked for other Republicans in office. He's worked for the GOP directly. So he knows what works and what doesn't, and he's really good at looking at data and analysis. And this is what he says, and I'm quoting him verbatim. They call it their firewall. It's the number of mail-in ballots Pennsylvania Democrats need to make Pennsylvania unwinnable for the GOP. In 2023, that number was 400,000 mail-in ballots. Using basic tactics, they nailed their number. Yet again, it created a bloodbath most in the Pennsylvania GOP never saw coming. Quote, let's just do 5% better than last time is a losing strategy for Republicans. The strategy must be for Pennsylvania Republicans to determine their own 2024 firewall number and implement tactics to reach it. Real Donald Trump on Twitter and the GOP need to be all in. What does all in look like? He says Trump must pick a date to land in Pennsylvania and not leave until the firewall is reached. Maybe it takes 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72, 100, or 200 hours. Doesn't matter. Barnstorm and don't leave Pennsylvania until the number is hit. Nothing else matters. Without a Republican firewall, 2022 and 2023 prove Trump and other Republicans cannot win. Hitting the firewall number not only helps in 2024, but in every election after that. Everybody needs to come to Pennsylvania while Donald Trump is building the firewall. And by everybody, I mean everybody. Senators, governors, congressmen, influencers, musicians, business leaders, athletes, celebrities, everybody. Conservative media need to treat it like they're covering the opening round of March Madness. Multiple cities, multiple storylines, all at the same time. Anything short of adopting a mail-in ballot firewall approach is simply planning to lose again in 2024. It's been asked for my thoughts since last night. Those are my thoughts.
Wow.
That is Athan Koutsarumbis. So Trump wanted to build the wall at the southern border, and now he's going to build a firewall here in Pennsylvania. Here's the thing that really blows me away, and I've heard Athan tell me this many times, and he says it right there in that tweet about how, once again, the Pennsylvania GOP never saw it coming. How do these people continue to remain in positions that they have when they are totally blindsided by election results and they say, oh, yeah, I didn't see it coming, but the polls said we were, like, are these people experts in strategy and analysis and data and things like that? Or are they just basically taking all of our tax dollars and playing games with us? Because there's no way that you can go and we said this after the midterms last year, the red wave that never came. We're saying it now, 2 days removed from the elections that we saw in this country, in this state, in this listening area just 2 days ago. If you don't see the writing on the wall and your flaws as a party, whatever it might be, whether it's the candidate, the message, failing to adopt and add strategies that the Democrats use, like mail-in balloting, if you don't do every single thing, like there should not be one suggestion mentioned by Dawn Stensland or Greg Stocker or Nick Kayal or Dom Giordano or Rich Zioli or a listener of this station or somebody on Twitter that tweets any social media influencer that's a conservative or anybody that sends a Facebook message to a politician in the GOP. They should be absorbing every ounce of opinion and ideas from all of us and put it all into a big pot, look at which ones are realistic, which ones are pipe dreams, mix it all together, marinate it, stick it in the fridge, and come out with something new. Because if you come back with the same game plan again, 11 months from now, the results are going to be the same. They're absolutely going to be the same. If you don't figure it out with abortion, if you don't do mail-in balloting, we gave you that number yesterday. Pennsylvania Republicans were 400,000 votes in the hole before the day started. Yeah. Like, we're telling you how to win, or at least how to give yourself a better odds-on chance of doing it, and you fail to do it. It's like, I keep telling my daughter, if you don't study for the science test, you're going to fail. She comes back, she fails. Did you study? No. Well, I told you what you had to do to pass the test. You didn't do it. That's on you. So I think that's a great layout. Now, how realistic that is Can Trump do this? I mean, and here's the thing. Let's think about this locally. Who's in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia every 3 months?
Yep.
Joe Biden.
Yep.
The Biden administration have been here more than they've been to every other state combined.
The fact that there's not more GOP candidates here is shocking. It's shocking. Athens right. Trump should camp out in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
He absolutely should.
And I'm not saying you got to spend your whole time in Philadelphia. We know it's a 7-1 disadvantage, registered Democrats over Republicans.
No, Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah, but Pennsylvania in general, like, I mean, my God. From Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, there's a whole bunch of red, right? Like, we understand the way the Pennsylvania map looks politically, red versus blue. You know, Pittsburgh's blue, Philadelphia's super blue, and everywhere in between, for the most part, is a lot of red. So, you know, if you want to start your voting day off, election day, 400,000 votes in the hole, good luck winning.
Yeah.
I mean, like, imagine if I told you were $400,000 in the hole before you started 2024 with your job. You would never get your head above water, would you? No, you wouldn't. So I don't understand. People get this data and then they don't show up. That's fine. You want to keep having Joe Biden, Democrats in charge? Knock yourself out. 855-839-1210. And speaking of Democrats, we got to get to my buddy Michael LaRosa on the other side. Michael LaRosa is a guy who has worked for Jill Biden multiple times. Went to high school with me, same class of 2002. We had him on. If you're new to the show, or maybe you didn't listen to the show last November or last October, we actually had Michael on because he's a CNN contributor, and he is, you know, I'll say this. I disagree with pretty much everything he says, but he's a smart guy, but he's a little arrogant. He's a little bit of a snippy little troll. And he apparently lost his mind on social media, seeing all of the latest Biden polling numbers, which we know, as I just mentioned, in battleground states are not good. So he went off, and we will give you the details on the other side as to what he is suggesting the Biden team does before the election next year. And also, speaking of the Bidens, Hunter and James subpoenaed by James Comer in the House Oversight Committee. We'll give you those details. Cut sheet in about 20 minutes. We're back after this on Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Get ready to start the NFL week off right, because right now all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football. That's tonight, man. Come on. Just place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Panthers and Bears, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. How about Bryce Young for 200-plus passing yards? How about the over in 38.5? And Carolina at +3. You can build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Go to FanDuel.com/Greg so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, President PA. For refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may to the IRS or state. You can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing. This Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue Product Consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
Is the IRS after you? Do you owe them more than you'll ever be able to pay? Are they levying your bank account, garnishing your paycheck? Are you staying up all night worrying they'll take everything you have? Are they bullying you into doing something you know is wrong? If so, you need somebody on your side that's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with them. Somebody that's not afraid to fight them. Somebody experienced in beating them at their own game and helping you. That person is Charles Montesino. He's a certified public accountant and certified tax resolution specialist. He's one of fewer than 200 in the entire country with both designations. He's known as the tax problem solver because he solves tax problems. The IRS is the biggest collection agency in the world. They don't always play fair. You need to even the playing field. Stop being bullied and get help from a professional that knows how to beat them. Call 609-970-4634. That's 609-970-4634. He's the taxpayer's advocate. He works for you. That's 609-970-4634.
The life of an Eagles fan is a wild ride. Some years we triumph. Some years we don't. What never changes year after year is how we get to the game, shoulder to shoulder with our fellow fans on SEPTA. And this season, fans ride home free from NRG Station on the Broad Street line thanks to Unibet, an official casino and sportsbook partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Plan your trip to the game and learn more about free rides home, sponsored by Unibet at iseptaphilly.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. Thinking of having turkey for the holidays? Make sure to buy one that was humanely and ethically raised. One of the best options is to buy a turkey direct from a local farm. If that's not an option, look for turkeys that are labeled either USDA organic or certified humane. Be wary of terms like natural, cage-free, and no hormones, as these terms aren't regulated. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and this is my show. What, you expecting something different? Whether you're looking for deep, insightful dives into the day's top sports stories, that's why we have guests, right, Nigel? Or simply how to get change for 100, you'll find it on the Tony Kornheiser Show. From football picks, from the best prognosticators in the business, including a monkey, to real-time baseball playoff analysis, to traffic in an area where you don't live. We got you covered. My friends come on, and you know them. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I can't wait for next spring, and I hope you join me as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with my friends from Conservative Tours. Nobody does it better. I'm talking about the Amalfi Coast, Positano, Sorrento, the Isle of Capri. Yeah, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii, all the ancient great sites in Rome as well, all while enjoying a gastronomical event for 12 lovely days of touring. Olive oil production, a mozzarella farm, wineries. Oh, you know we're going to have some wine tasting sessions together. The group dining events they're known for are legendary. 5267. Yeah, 5267, which includes nonstop airfare while supplies last. Just think about this. Southern Italy in spring. Conservativetours.com. Go to conservativetours.com. You'll see my picture. Scroll down, see the full itinerary. If you have any questions, you can call toll-free 888-733-9494. And, of course, discovering why Italians, the locals, take their vacations in Puglia. You know why? Because Puglia is Italy's best-kept secret. Charming villages, unparalleled cuisine, so delicious, so unspoiled, authentically Italian. Conservativetours.com. Conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Kayal, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
7:31, Kayal and Company, rolling on live Thursday morning. Nick, Dawn, Greg, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. What's on the cut sheet coming up 7:45 this morning. Morning mystery movie clip. Another great prize coming up at 9:20. And don't forget, too, if you're watching on YouTube, got the sweatshirt on today. The Kayal and Company Free Speech Lives Here hoodie. Retails for, I believe, $55. Very good quality, too. Thrown this bad boy in the washer and dryer a bunch of times. Still as soft as it was the first day. Letters stay on. By the way, I bought a couple of hooded sweatshirts yesterday down at the Dick's Sporting Goods. And the quality at some of these places these days, I don't know if you've noticed this. Like when you start buying like those, ridiculously overpriced Under Armour hoodies, the material is just awful. I would recommend going with what we have here. What was it 1210wpht.com? Get the shop, the merch store.
1210wpht.com, and it's there's a link for the merch store. You can't miss it.
All right, there you go. All right, so obviously you can't miss the bad polling numbers for the Bidens, and I think this is interesting. And I'm going to ask an interesting question in a moment after we set this up for you. So Michael LaRosa, a former Jill Biden staffer, has exploded at Biden's team amid crumbling poll numbers, saying, quote, "This is inexcusable," as he calls for a complete overhaul of Biden's team. This story, if you want to check it out, is on foxnews.com. LaRosa, former spokesperson for the First Lady Jill Biden, exploded at President Biden's team on Tuesday over his crumbling poll numbers, calling it inexcusable while warning that Biden needs to revamp his team. In a three-part social media tirade, LaRosa, a communications and political strategist who served as press secretary for Jill Biden between January 2021 and August 2022, lashed out at Biden's team following the release of a CNN poll because, as I mentioned last segment, Michael LaRosa is a guest at times and a contributor for CNN. So he's mad that the CNN poll is showing that the former president, Donald Trump, has much higher favorability ratings amongst other barometers. He says the following on Twitter, quote, "New CNN poll, Trump has higher favorables and Biden has higher unfavorable," LaRosa wrote on X. "This is inexcusable for a man universally known for his character and integrity. It's a result of failing to respond to smears, lies, conspiracies, and disinformation for months, allowing a void of info to be filled. Shameful that POTUS's team has allowed this narrative to congeal over the past 2 years." LaRosa continued in his second part of his post, which he then went on to delete. "The only people who can help change the people around President Biden is Jill. It's up to her. These are the same people who got him 4th in Iowa, 5th in New Hampshire, and a distant second to a socialist in Nevada." LaRosa then calls for an overhaul of Biden's team. Quote, "I've been a squeaky wheel for months." It's a good way to characterize that guy. He was a squeaky wheel in high school, too. He says, "I've been a squeaky wheel for months, arguing this is the wrong approach to GOP attacks on Biden's integrity, reputation, and family." He acts like he's talking about Mother Teresa here, like Joe Biden's just this patriot saint. Poll after poll validates everything I've been saying and writing for months. Changing this team now will look like he actually cares and sees the same numbers that we do. So I would say this, if Joe is going to make a change now, first of all, I don't know that Joe's even aware he can make a change. And if a change happened, I don't know that Joe would even realize that it occurred, because I think Joe is basically knocked out on his feet. But I think at this point, it would be a sign of panic. It would be a sign of listening to the outside fodder, the noise, the rumbling, and looking at the polls. And that's the question I want to ask, because yesterday on this show, as we were kind of breaking down everything that happened, or I should say didn't happen, in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, Kentucky, Ohio, and Virginia, we reiterated that we should take polls with a grain of salt. In fact, we said we should just rip up these polls because they are absolutely meaningless. Yet here is a Democratic strategist in Michael LaRosa who has been a part of the Biden team, who is on CNN, and he is seeing the same polls that we are seeing. And he's taking them very seriously, as in, we have a problem here. Donald Trump in battleground states should not be winning 4 of them, tied in 1, and losing by only 2 points in another. So it really makes me wonder, are we as Republicans who are tired of being told about a red wave and tired of hearing how well somebody's polling, when in reality, when election night comes, it never materializes, are we jumping off of the poll bandwagon, so to speak, prematurely? Are we overreacting? Because here's the thing, and this is why I asked the question. If Republicans actually would do what Athencourt-Rumbus says we should do, maybe we would actually have the polls be truly representative of reality. Like, you can sit here and point out Pennsylvania, Trump +4, Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin, go through them all. But if you refuse to take advantage of mail-in ballots, then you're never actually going to validate the smaller sample size of these polls based on what people are being asked. 1,400 people here, 3,400 people there. I mean, somebody out there is saying they like Trump better than Biden, and they like Republicans over Democratic policies, yet it doesn't materialize and manifest itself to the ballot box at Election Day. So are we the wrong ones here? Is La Rosa's panic for Biden justified, and should we actually feel like Trump really does have a great shot? Because I would argue, and this is just me, if somebody said, "Hey, talk to La Rosa. He's spazzing out here. He's having a conniption. He's reading the CNN poll and his heart rate's running through the roof." I'd be like, dude, I wouldn't worry about that. The last 2.5 years, we've seen what these polls actually show us in real life. If you had to tell me, like, right now today, I think that Joe Biden would probably get reelected. Like, if I had to go on a record on November 9th, 2023 at 7:37 a.m., even knowing and believing that Trump has a much better chance than he had 3, 6, 9, and 12 months ago, I would say that Joe Biden probably still gets reelected, because I've seen too many flaws in the GOP, and I see what Republican voters don't take advantage of. But La Rosa's freaking out here, and I love it. I used to love when he would freak out in high school. I absolutely loved it. So is there any validity to what he is saying here? Does Joe need to shake things up? Because I have said I don't see him dropping out. He just pumped in $25 million from his war chest into new ads, so I don't see him dropping out. And I know Tony Bruno said yesterday, before 2024 comes, that he believes Gavin Newsom will be the nominee. So for Joe, he can either, here's Joe's options: stay the course, change up your staff, or drop out. Which of the three seems most likely? I would say, knowing Joe as much as we've covered him, not that I know him personally, he's incredibly stubborn. He's got an anger and a temper to him. I don't think he changes anything, in part because I don't think he's with it mentally enough to know what changes to make personally. But that's just me.
You said the other day, and I thought this, I agreed with you when you said that Joe Biden is, he's become that grumpy person, the grumpy guy. And I think that's true, like grumpy and stubborn. And we've seen some examples of that. And so I think you're right. He's not dropping out. As far as your former classmate, I think that part of me likes the fact that he's loyal to the Bidens. So part of it is, the Democrats, but also you don't see a lot of that anymore. Just somebody who cares about somebody they've worked for. And so that's kind of what I took from it, that he thinks, we're in trouble. And it's not just the Democrats, that he sees, no matter what's going on, that Biden's in big trouble. And he's angry with those others who are not being loyal. It's almost like the Mika Brzezinski clip, that you aired the other day. Like, hello, why aren't we doing more to rally around the president, who's a Democrat, in the White House right now?
But, isn't this one of these situations where two things can be true at the same time? Where, yes, Joe is in trouble. Yes, he is awful. Yes, those polls, I think, are indicative of what people think of Biden. But again, I think one of the big problems moving forward with Trump is you just have people out there that hate the guy so much that regardless of how inept Joe Biden is, if it's Trump versus the alternative, they're taking the alternative regardless of who the alternative is. Like, I think there's actually a lot of people out there that will say, I think Joe Biden's a terrible president, but I'll still vote for him. Like, that person out there exists. And they exist in my wife's family. I've seen them up close and personal. They don't care. You can hit them with all the facts in the world, Dawn. You could tell them about the economy, inflation, gas prices, crime, and some of which they will acknowledge, and they will say you're right, and they will still spin it of, well, I'd still rather have the lesser of two evils, because that's what I heard. That was funny. We talk about that. There were people in my wife's family that voted Trump in 2016 because they thought he was the lesser of two evils when it came to him and Hillary Clinton. And now they've kind of pivoted the other way where they say Biden is the lesser of two evils. But if you think about, everything that Hillary has been linked to, there's many people, I think, that, in 2015, as Trump emerged, they were like, oh, okay. And you're telling me the other option, the Democrat's going to be Hillary Clinton? No, thank you. I'll take the Trumpster. So it's funny how things play out 8 years later. And then lastly, we got to get to this. And, I take this really with a grain of salt, because this thing is going along very slowly. But Hunter and James Biden officially now in the crosshairs of James Comer and the House Oversight Committee, as they will be called to sit for depositions in the impeachment investigation, as Republicans will also call in the wife of the president's son and his ex-lover, Hallie, for interviews as they ramp up their probe. So Hunter Biden, James Biden, and Biden family associate Rob Walker are set to be called in for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee. The committee is requesting interviews with Melissa Cohen, Hunter's wife, Sarah Biden, Frank's wife, Haley Biden, Hunter's ex-girlfriend, and Beau Biden's widow, which is a very odd, creepy kind of thing if you think about it for a moment. And they are also requesting others, including business associate Tony Bobulinski. Comer says he has traced now $24 million from these foreign actors to the Biden family and the associates with these bank accounts. If you recall, in the last, I would say 2.5, 3 weeks, we've seen denominations of $200,000. We saw the image of a $200,000 check that James Biden mailed to his brother Joe, which he labeled a smoking gun. And, of course, it was labeled within the Biden family as a loan repayment, because all the Bidens do is loan each other money, interest-free, and then repay each other. Weeks ago, we had James Comer unveiling a $40,000 direct payment to Joe from a 2017 label as a loan repayment, with the claim that was traced back to the Chinese. And now bank records seen by the Daily Mail show that Joe had loaned James the exact amount he was paid of $240,000 before he gets paid back by his brother. Records also show that Joe made 2 short-term loans to James, one for $40,000 in 2017 and another $200,000 in the beginning of January 2018. And amazingly, these loans were repaid in full by James Biden without interest in 37 days and 48 days, respectively. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know what kind of job or what type of net income you need to have and what your cash flow looks like, but to pay back $200,000 interest-free in 37 days seems it's like you got to have a pretty lucrative bank account, or you got to have some sort of connections to be paying off these sorts of debts. Again, I think all of this is great evidence that clearly the Bidens were using their name, the brand, as they like to say, and they have definitely been, I think, found guilty of this influence peddling operation to profit their family. But it still just seems like if you were to put this all down and try to make a flow chart, or, in the words of Kamala Harris, bust out a Venn diagram, I'm still trying to find out where that last piece of information is, where James Comer and the other House Republicans can absolutely say we have enough here, because this is just an impeachment inquiry right now. They have not officially filed the articles of impeachment, which is completely different, but it's another piece to the puzzle. The only question is, will we have this puzzle complete before the election? I seriously have my doubts. I think we will get little bits and pieces, and it's not to say that they're putting on a show and a production. Well, sure, that's part of it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, was a drama major in college. But they still don't have that last aha, got you moment where they can move forward and really crush the Bidens. But I do want to see, because the deposition is a little bit different than putting somebody on a stand in a court. It's more of a law office type setting where you have like a court reporter. The attorney pays that person to come and log everything. You're sworn under oath, and they depose you. And it's a big binder of questions, and it's a long, monotonous process. I'd be willing to bet that Hunter Biden is probably deposed for every bit of like an 8-hour business day. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, 7:45 right on the dot. Let's get to a Thursday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Thursday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out at Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Thank you, Cherry Hill Volvo, for sponsoring the ever-important Thursday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet. I'm going to start with cut 14 back there, guys. I have a lot of cuts from the debate last night. We played some in the 6 o'clock hour. I'm going to play some of the same ones in this segment, too, because there's just a ton of them. And for the people who tune in later and who didn't watch, I'm guessing a lot of people didn't watch.
I get the feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's not going to be a highly rated debate.
I'm hoping we have those numbers they put out tomorrow for the show.
We'll probably get them.
No, not tomorrow.
No. We'll probably get them midday, late afternoon today.
Today? Oh, okay,
that's
good.
what I'm thinking. Yeah. Because they have to count in all the streaming and all that other nonsense.
That's true.
All right. The first thing I want to start with is the question on TikTok, because I think there's a lot of interesting comments on this, and then obviously that turned into the Vivek Haley smackdown. So I'm going to kind of play it in chronological order how it happened.
Okay.
The first being the first question going to Governor Chris Christie on China's influence and it being spyware. And this is what he said on the TikTok question on if it should be banned or not. We discussed that a lot on this show. Cut 14, go.
By America's preeminent adversary, one used to push propaganda and divide America. It's spyware, he said, a means of surveillance. Governor Christie, do you agree with Chairman Gallagher? And if so, would you ban or force the sale of TikTok?
I agree 100% with Chairman Gallagher, and let me say this. TikTok is not only spyware. It is polluting the minds of American young people all throughout this country, and they're doing it intentionally. And when you saw what happened in the last few weeks with all of this anti-Semitic, horrible stuff that their algorithms were pushing out at a gargantuan rate, this is China trying to further divide the United States of America. And this is one of the big failings among many of the Trump administration. He talked tough about TikTok. I heard him do it many times. But when it came down to it, he did not ban them when he could have and should have. And now since then, we've had an additional nearly 6 years of this type of poison being put out throughout the United States, even putting aside the spying, which we know is going on, and the theft of American personal data and information. So in my first week as president, we would ban TikTok.
First week.
They want to go ahead and sell it?
Wow.
Let them go ahead and sell it. But I'll tell you another reason we would do it. Facebook's not in China. X is not in China. They're not permitting a free flow of information to the Chinese people from our social media companies, yet we just open the door and let them do what they're doing. TikTok should be banned because they are poisoning American minds, and I would do it week one.
Thank you, Governor.
Wow.
That might be the first time I wholeheartedly agree with anything that comes out of Chris Christie's mouth.
Stop.
And I wanted to bring up the point and compare. Like, why is it we always talk about let's ban TikTok, but we never hear let's ban Facebook and let's ban Twitter and let's ban Instagram and let's ban Snapchat?
Well, he explained to you. Oh.
Right. But,
yeah.
Yeah, and the reason being is that none of them are Chinese owned and operated like TikTok is. I mean, I don't want to ban it from the sake of the show because they provide great content for mental health breakdowns with people with nose rings. But other than that, yeah, I think you should ban it.
Guys, if we're banning things that are Chinese-owned and operated, we're banning 90% of our goods and services in this country.
Well, it's not so much goods and services. It's the surveillance and the spying and the collection of information. That's what we know China wants to do. They've got Chinese-owned police stations in New York City, which I still haven't figured out how that operates.
Banning doesn't work. It's going to make it even more popular. Like, China wants us to ban it because they're like, great, we'll put it underground, and now your kids and my kids and Dawn's kids all want to seek it out even more.
So let's move beyond just the word ban.
Yeah.
Logistically, if they decided to, let's say Chris Christie became president, and he's going to come through on his promise to ban TikTok in the first week, how do they actually go about doing that? I mean, because you say, well, bans make people want it more. Well, is there a way to legitimately ban it from being downloaded on your phone? Because if there is, then in this country, the demand's not going to go up because there's no way of you getting it. Now, it might go up around the world. Other people in other countries could still use it.
I personally just think I like what Greg said. You know, if we're deciding that China is our enemy and we're going to ban their products. You know, goodbye Dollar Store.
Yeah. Goodbye Walmart.
Goodbye Walmart and Nike and
Nike,
your iPhone.
Those Nike sneakers that you buy, they can't spy on you. That sweatshirt that you got that was manufactured in China, it can't spy on you. It's not so much the app itself. It's the surveillance. And I'm not even saying it from the dumb things like the hate speech or these stupid TikTok challenges that go viral where some kid decides to drink 24 gallons of vodka and we have to read the story how he tragically died. I'm not even talking about it from that standpoint. I'm talking about it from a national security standpoint. That's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of being China's you-know-what.
If that's really what it does, if it's really a national security threat, then yes. If it's truly a national security threat, then absolutely. But if it's tracking you, so is everything else.
Well, that's true. Yes.
Right. So that's why we use DuckDuckGo.
And that's the yin and the yang of smart technology these days. We have more answers, and we should be more intelligent, and we have all these things at the tap of an app. But the downside of it is it tracks you. And thank you for the DuckDuckGo.
Everything tracks us.
I know.
You just put up your phone on the YouTube video screen. By the way, you should watch what your messages are just in case because you put them up there.
Those damn nude selfies.
But anyway, your phone. Your phone tracks you. Where do you think your phone's made?
I know.
So, like, what are we doing? What are we doing with this banning stuff? Like, I understand I don't use TikTok. I will never use TikTok. My son will never use TikTok. I am not saying that I'm, like, some big proponent of TikTok. I'm just saying that, like, bans don't work. They never have and they never will.
It'll probably never even come to fruition anyway. It's probably a lost cause argument.
But and I forget when these hearings, because remember, we've covered all these different congressional hearings, but I know there was one, and we've known this for a couple years, where in TikTok, their app is actually tracking your keyboard entries, which means they could have passwords, and then they're key logging, and then theoretically they were following government. Remember that one congressional hearing, and they said, so right now, you members of Congress, they could be spying on you, right? And everybody kind of went, oh my goodness. That they could spy, have your passwords, have your key logging activities for a journalist, let's say, that they know your sources. So if that's what's going on and they can confirm that, then that's a very different story. I will say this. I liked it when we had different states and different universities, state-run I think this was, wasn't it Arkansas? With Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I think she was they were one of the states where they said anybody using our Wi-Fi you're not allowed to, they're blocking TikTok somehow.
Yeah. If companies want to do that,
Yeah.
or
if Odyssey.
if the state government wants to do that, I have no.
Yeah, make it a state issue.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
No. If the state government offices, not not if the state wants to ban it,
or state-run universities, things like that. Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
So I think there are some states that have done some of that.
And I think you're right with Arkansas.
Yeah, I know. It's it doesn't it seem like even things we covered 6 months ago or a year ago.
No.
It seems sometimes like 10 years worth of information.
It does. It's because we get through so many things each day.
All right, so let's get Nikki Haley's answer on TikTok. What did she say? There's no video for this because I'm kind of pulling some of the stuff as we go, as the conversation evolves. This is this is what Nikki Haley said on TikTok.
Ambassador Haley, speak to the parents out there. There are probably TikTok apps on half the phones in this auditorium.
No, I'm going to speak to the fact that 2 people hit me and you didn't let me respond. So let's first talk about the fact that they want to talk about the Chinese land from 10 years ago. Yes, I brought a fiberglass company 10 years ago to South Carolina. But, Ron, you are the chair of your economic development agency that, as of last week, said Florida is the ideal place for Chinese businesses. Not only that, you have a company that is manufacturer of Chinese military planes. You have it. They are expanding 2 training sites at 2 of your airports now, one which is 12 miles away from a naval base. Then you have another company that's expanding, and they were just invaded by the Department of Homeland Security. So mine was 10 years ago.
You gave
Yours
them
was
stuff.
6
I
months
didn't
ago.
give them anything.
What's your story?
And I abolished that
Wow.
agency that she's talking about.
No,
Enterprise Florida, we abolished it, and of course we banned
He
China from
scrubbed
buying
the
land.
website
Not
last
exactly
week.
a
Go
great
check.
recruiting pitch if you're banning them from purchasing land
scrubbed
at
the
all. So
website
we've stood
last
up and
week.
we've done the right thing in Florida.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
So basically, she just went after. She just went after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think any of these politicians on the right that are anti-China the way they are, for a variety of reasons, they need to be careful when they pick and choose these battles to fight against China and stand up to China. Because if you have any prior dealings with anything linked to that, and there's receipts, like you saw, that was basically a battle of, well, you did this, and well, no, I did this, but I took care of that. So to me, it's all kind of
hogwash.
Yeah, sophomoric hogwash.
Yeah, and the truth is, we're in bed with China.
Yes, sadly, China's
Come
China's unavoidable.
Yeah.
Right.
So treat them as, I don't know, a business partner who's also your mistress, who you want to be careful of, and you don't want to completely trust. But we are in bed with China. We owe them so much money. We have trade deals, even though Trump exposed that a lot of the deals are bad, and a lot of companies, a ton of people who are in whether private business or, and this is local, corporations, etc., know that what China does is they steal your technology. And I don't know, do they use TikTok or some of this other stuff or the drones over America? I don't know how they do it, but ultimately they steal your technology. Then they go back and they approach you and say, hey, we're making your technology, but you know what? We'll make you a partner. We'll make it for cheaper. Just lay off all those workers you have, thousands of workers, and we'll make it for you in China for cheap. We've already got the technology. We're already gonna do it and sell it as a generic and take your copyrighted information. And that's what China has been doing for years. Trump was the one who challenged that and put an end to that, and it's a huge problem. Now they've gone back to it. So I think we just have to treat them as a business. Truthfully, they're not, so in air quotes, the enemy. Come on, we do business with them every day.
Right.
Robert Schwartz, Nick on YouTube, says TikTok lives in Nick's head like Trump does the Democrats.
That's a fair point. Well said. That's the leader in the clubhouse for YouTube winner of the day.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, coming up at 9:55, not only will we do Who on Twitter, but we are also started yesterday. We're going to do Who on YouTube. We don't have the imaging for that yet, so it's just going to be a cheesy kind of.
Okay.
Anyway. So get your comments in because the boys in the back will track who's the best YouTube comments so far.
And the more outlandish the comment, the better chance of winning.
Yeah, don't try and make a substantive point because it
Substance
ain't gonna
doesn't
win.
live here, pal.
Okay. Yeah. Substance doesn't live here is probably my favorite slogan. So, all right. So let's get to the back and forth that's really making all the headlines. And look, it's almost like I got to this right at 8 o'clock on purpose. The little inside joke there for Nick. So Vivek then talks about TikTok and he battles Haley on all kinds of things here. Cut 15, go.
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it, and that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth. The easy answer is actually to say that we're just going to ban one app. We got to go further. We have to ban any U.S. company actually transferring U.S. data to the Chinese. Here's a story most people don't know. Airbnb hands over U.S. user data to the CCP. Now, that's a U.S.-owned company.
I'm going to stop it right there. What do we think about that back and forth?
I need to know, is Nikki Haley's daughter a minor?
No, she's 25.
Okay, then she's fair game. If she was a teenager and Vivek said that, that's completely out of line.
I don't know. I don't think it was a good moment for him.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Not, dude, just
kids
like,
are
right.
Even though she's an adult, in her 25 years old, I still think it wasn't a good moment.
Yeah.
And she came off strong and a
She called
mama
him
bear.
scum.
Yeah.
She called him scum.
She was mad.
Yeah.
And afterwards,
They didn't.
she wouldn't even look at him.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm telling you, maybe you're right, Stalker. This was Vivek's last stand because he took a flamethrower to the whole place last night.
Yes, he did. he knows that this is his swan song.
Yes.
So he's going out in a blaze of glory. Which, by the way, I think it's actually a really fun strategy.
He's building up points within the GOP as far as voters. I mean,
is he though? Is he though?
I think he's getting supporters.
All right, wait, hang on.
I said I'd like to see him replace Ronna McDaniel.
Let's dissect this for a second. So you think that exchange? I'm not talking about Twitter. I'm not talking about people on Twitter are going to say, yeah, man, yeah, go. But do you really think that the GOP voter saw that and was like, yeah, man, go, get her?
I think there are people out there that said, you know what, we've got to find a role for this guy. There's got to be somewhere where he fits perfectly. Not to say he's going to be, the nominee, but here's the thing. He's gaining invaluable experience right now. He's, 38, 39?
Yeah.
He's a year younger than me. He's one of 5 candidates standing on stage, and I'm sitting here with the two of you. Think about that.
Wait.
Think about that. He's younger than me, and he's running for president.
Yeah.
Look at my life, and then you look at Vivek Ramaswamy. He's got 40 years left in the politic game if he wants, and he's way ahead of the curve.
By the way, hanging out with me and Don way much better than.
I agree. I'm just trying to compare because we're both the same age, basically.
I got you.
This is I'm at the point where I like to see him be the chairman of the RNC.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him. Let's say Trump gets elected. You don't put him in your cabinet. You don't want him going to bat for you in some certain,
But here's the thing, though, guys. He's an entrepreneur. He's a rich guy. He's not going to take any, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to take anything but the best, right? He's not going to be the RNC chairman. I know that was floated around yesterday. I heard Zioli say it, and I know Charlie Kirk is saying it on Twitter. But he's not really going to take that job.
He probably won't, but I mean, I know that you don't run for president necessarily for the salary because it's only $400,000 a year, which still seems incredibly odd. But I just that's a guy where I'm like, if he's genuine, and that's my only question, is he legitimately authentic? Because he comes off smartest guy in the room, a little too rehearsed for me. But if it's not rehearsed and he's just that good, I think that's a guy you want to go in the battle for you.
Yeah.
I would find a spot for him somewhere if he's willing to take it.
Okay. Let me finish where we left off there.
So this is the problem when you have Republicans that temporarily go the way the winds blow, and now it's popular to talk tough on China. When she was UN ambassador, called them literally, her words, not mine, our great friend. You can't be fair weather fans of the right policy. Get to the root cause. Even U.S. companies in Silicon Valley are regularly doing it. Cut the virtue signaling. The fact of the matter is Democrats are on TikTok today. The only person, one of the few people who is putting up content the way the actual algorithms work, speaking for pro-Israel views or others, is
Ambassador
me.
Haley,
more Republicans will join it. But stop U.S. companies from turning over data to Chinese companies. That's the real answer, not the virtue
Kristen
signal.
don't get to respond to personal attacks, but you do.
Thank you very much. When he talks about me praising China, he doesn't know the fact that the reason China was praised was because I negotiated with China and Russia the largest set of sanctions against North Korea in a generation. That is literally the reason North Korea stopped testing ballistic missiles. So I said China did good on their part. That was a negotiation you could never do.
Is what you said, Nikki. Those are your words, not mine. And so just own up to it.
You would never
you can
have been
change
able
your
to
mind.
get
That's
that
allowed.
negotiation
but don't
done.
lie to the people about what you've said or what you've done in
China
South Carolina.
My
you have
entire
brought them to South
career
Carolina.
at the United
right
Nations.
about that.
Every day I fought China, and I did it by making sure no one could get any agency heads in UN. I did it by making sure that we called them out on human rights. I did it by making sure that we held them accountable on everything that they did. That's the reason we got out of the Human Rights Council. That's the reason we called them out. And there's not been a day I haven't
Senator Scott, it is your turn. Mr. Ramaswamy,
you made afterwards.
Everybody else is hanging on to the rules here, Mr. Ramaswamy. Senator Scott.
If you noticed, if you're watching on YouTube or you saw it last night, DeSantis is sitting in the middle of the crosshairs between these two, and he's tilting his head to the left, looking to the right. He's got that uncomfortable grin on his face. I'll say this: Nikki stood up to Vivek really strongly there, but I will say this is now a common theme. I think Vivek, and yes, he took a flamethrower to the place last night, but he's been in the middle of a lot of these dust-ups for all three of these debates. He's got a set of stones on him. He doesn't care that he's the outsider, that he's the youngster. He's kind of a Trump kiss-up, but it's a good strategy. He doesn't want to, ruffle the feathers of the big guy. Maybe he wants to be a part of his cabinet. But here's the thing with, he said fair-weathered nature of Nikki with China. Trump is very strong against China, very strong against North Korea. But Trump massages egos. Remember, it was a couple of months ago, Trump said somebody's very, very, very intelligent. I forget what it was, and everyone was like, "Why is he I think it might have been Xi.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be tough with these people, but you also have to be able to play the game and massage egos and keep people happy.
Keith Martin so far is my favorite. He says, "Does Haley ever move her mouth when she speaks, or is she a bad a ventriloquist?" I thought the same thing last night. She has these like pursed teeth, and she talks like this, and it's
she talks really fast.
It's super. Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't move her mouth as much.
Oh no, she doesn't.
Well, here of the evening, I thought that she looks presidential. I think she's polished out of all of them. I think that she came off as experienced, presidential, knowledgeable. And yet there's a grace and elegance about her. And I felt like, in the Olympics when you're watching, I don't know, whether it's the gymnastics or the ice skating, and then you see the Oksana Bayul, who's the wiry 13-year-old, but she'll be the gold medalist someday.
Right.
So at some point I felt like she's right now in her lane. I felt like Ron DeSantis is all, you're kind of rooting for him, and policy-wise, he's fantastic. And reminding you that in Florida, when he said, for example, that he went over and got hundreds of people who were in Gaza in the midst of that, he's a real doer. He's not just a talker.
Yeah, he gets it done.
But at the same point, I just felt like that when you're watching the Olympics and there's they're on the balance beam and they're a little like they're not quite there yet. I sort of felt that about him, that there's still a little, and his eyes are moving, and he's really, I don't know, he's just not quite there yet for me. I did feel that. And then with Chris Christie, I liked the fact that he was more mellow. He was clearly trying to be presidential and not trying to be the jester. And then who took on that role? Vivek took on that role. He was trying to make the splash, like you've said, last stand. But to me, Nikki Haley stands out. And I know many disagree with me on social media. Daily Mail has this huge poll they've done, and they said Ron DeSantis by far won.
No, Nikki.
I agree with you.
Nikki was better. I would say.
I think Vivek won.
I said, I said Vivek, Nikki. I think I said Vivek got an A, Nikki A-, B+, DeSantis B+. But Nikki's got a southern elegance to her. She's got that southern charm where she's feisty. Don't think you're going to steamroll her, but she's also going to show you like some class.
Here's the problem. My opinion is this: Nikki Haley has the best chance to win a general election.
Yes.
She has zero chance of winning a primary. Zero.
Against
because
Trump,
they're
because
just
Trump is so far and away.
Yeah. Well,
No,
that was
because
that was my stance on DeSantis a year ago.
Because people look at her as a war hawk, which she is. They look at her as a swamp creature. They look at somebody. They don't want a politician. Nobody in the GOP base right now wants a politician.
But you know what though? That's like saying, I don't want to deal with TikTok. Well, you're not going to get away from China. Like we can sit here and say all we want, that we want outsiders. We don't want politicians. But this is what we're presented. So if you want an outsider, it's one of two options. It's Trump or it's Vivek. The rest of them are career politicians, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we could say all – and by the way, too, and I've said this before in the past, Donald Trump's a unicorn. Donald Trump's not going to come around every decade, every election cycle.
He changed politics.
He could be a once-in-a-generation guy.
There's no question he is. He's changed politics, and it's I understand people, especially on social media, liking what Vivek did last night, but it's really just a page from Trump's playbook. That's really all he's doing.
The bombastic nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. Like it's just he's taking that page out of Trump's book. So I don't know. I don't see this as a winning strategy for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think the person right now with the best lane is Nikki Haley, but she can't get out of the primary, so it's kind of useless.
Let me ask you this question: was Trump's VP on stage last night?
No. He said to Clay Travis that he wants Tucker Carlson, which
I mean, it'd make incredible talk show fodder for us. But I mean,
I don't know how serious he was.
That would be a losing recipe.
Oh God.
Carrie Lake was there, and he referenced her a lot.
That'd be a
in
losing
the rally.
That would be a losing recipe.
Agreed.
All right, let's go.
Gotta go, Nikki.
Let's go. Oh God, can you imagine? I don't.
Why are you saying that? She was his UN ambassador.
I know. I'm just saying that I just don't. I don't think people will be happy with that, honestly, because it's really like she's really the antithesis of Trump as far as war and all of that stuff goes.
She's the opposite, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now that we have not only Ukraine, but we have Israel happening, I think that helps a Nikki Haley type, the fact that she looks competent. I mean, that piece where Hugh Hewitt was asking all the questions about how would you handle this, he was trying to get a number from Vivek, and he couldn't, and Vivek said, I would do this by 20%. All of them basically said they'd build the military and that our military's antiquated. I thought Chris Christie's answer of our nuclear submarines, how they're silent and the Chinese fear them, I didn't know that. So I learned something in that segment, and I thought it was kind of, I know it's insider stuff, but it was kind of wonky, and I kind of was fascinated with it.
Yep.
But the truth is that it could be argued that a powerful military might wards off somebody from trying to poke you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. For sure.
All right.
To simplify it.
Yep.
They finally got to the results of the election at 9. Let's see what's the timestamp right here, like 9:38. So
the election from Tuesday night.
The election from Tuesday night, and the abortion issue it is what I want to focus on here. I want to kind of go through some of their answers. I'm going to start with Ron DeSantis and what his takeaway was, and on the abortion issue, Kristen Welker asking the question.
Let's talk now about last night's election results. Abortion rights supporters saw victories in Ohio and Virginia following earlier wins in states like Kansas and Kentucky. Governor DeSantis, first to you, how do you see the path forward for Republicans on this issue?
Well, I stand for a culture of life, and I understand that it's important that everyone gets a shot. I'm reminded of a story about a young mother who was struggling in Jamaica about 45 years ago. She was counseled to not have a baby because she was poor, baby wouldn't have opportunity, and she came close to have an abortion, but she decided to have the baby born poor in Jamaica. And the reason I know that story is because that baby girl ended up emigrating to the state of Florida, becoming a lawyer and a judge, and I appointed her to the Florida Supreme Court in August of 2022. We're better off when everybody counts. we're better off when we can promote a culture of life. At the same time, I understand that some of these states are doing it a little bit different. Texas is not going to do it the same as New Hampshire. Iowa's not necessarily going to do it the same as Virginia. So you got to work from the bottom up. You got to do a better job on these referenda. I think of all the stuff that's happened to the pro-life cause, they have been caught flat-footed on these referenda, and they have been losing the referenda. A lot of the people who are voting for the referenda are Republicans who would vote for a Republican candidate. So you got to understand how to do that. But let's just be clear. The Democrats have taken a position. They will not identify the point at which there should be any protection all the way up until birth. That is wrong, and we cannot stand for that.
All right, Governor DeSantis, thank you. Ambassador.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty good answer in the beginning with the story about that person in Jamaica, and then how he, can personalize with it about the promotion that he gave that individual. I think, was it for a judgeship or something like that? But he talks about at the end there where he says about the Democrats. The Democrats have made, and Dawn, correct me if I'm wrong with the wording on this, but the Democrats have made this not an abortion issue, a female health care or female rights issue is the way they kind of phrase it.
They try to say female reproductive rights.
Yes.
And so here's my problem with this. First of all, Democrats don't care about women and girls. Look at what they've done with women and girls and putting males in their locker rooms and their bathrooms.
Good point.
So they don't care about females and girls, number one. Number two, it used to be that black and brown women, just by and large, really didn't get abortions. Now we see that flip. And so there could be an argument, and this goes back to the original, the woman who was pushing for abortion and so on. It turned out she was very racist, and that you can look it up. It's well documented. And so if I'm a Republican running, I'm saying, look, have your baby. We want you to have your baby. We'll help you with making sure that you're okay and that you can get your education or your job training, etc. Just go ahead, have your baby. A lot of women, especially poor women, whatever their ethnicity, they actually do this even when they're married and have a couple kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. Women with 2 or 3, a family even, that 2 or 3 or 4 kids, and they have that procedure not because they want it, but because for them it's a last choice and it's the survival of their other kids.
Yep.
And because birth control, the pill and so on, it's expensive. It's not free. Those are the kinds of things that if Republicans started talking about that, making it an economic issue, we're not talking about the rare instances of incest and rape and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Those are real issues, and those become kitchen table issues then, that you weave it into an economic policy, but that you're saying, we want to make it so that it's not a last resort or your only choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those kinds of talking points you never hear Republicans saying,
No.
and especially to here in Philadelphia, black and brown community. Look at all where the abortion clinics are, the Planned Parenthood. They're in cities now.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't used to be that way.
That's true. Yeah, I think of all the people on that stage, who's the most pro-life? DeSantis clearly is. So
Tim Scott is.
Yeah, Tim Scott.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But all of them are.
I forget that Tim's even involved.
Well, he just,
he's just been MIA the whole time.
At the end, did you see him posing, and they confirmed that the woman he was posing for pictures with people, and that's his girlfriend.
Oh.
So we learned he had a girlfriend.
Oh. Has he
His
kissed her?
girlfriend.
Has he kissed her yet?
Stop.
I have a girlfriend. She lives in a different state, though.
we FaceTime each other.
Hey, you should talk, mister.
Yeah, I
Get
know.
your wife and family up here.
I
would
know,
you?
right?
All right. Nikki Haley gave the best answer for the GOP for a general election on the abortion issue, in my opinion, yesterday. She's the best to speak about this for the GOP. In my opinion, this was her answer yesterday.
Ambassador Haley, let me have you weigh in. Former President Trump has consistently blamed the abortion issue and how Republican candidates have talked about it for their electoral losses. How do you see the path forward?
I've said it before. I think you have to be honest with the American people. This is a personal issue for every woman and every man. I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband Michael was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children. So I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, when you look Post-Roe, a wrong was made right. They took it out of the hands of unelected justices and they put it in the hands of the people. And now we're seeing states vote. And what I'll tell you is, as much as I'm pro-life, I don't judge anyone for being pro-choice, and I don't want them to judge me for being pro-life. So when we're looking at this, there are some states that are going more on the pro-life side. I welcome that. There are some states that are going more on the pro-choice side. I wish that wasn't the case, but the people decided. But when it comes to the federal law, which is what's being debated here, be honest, it's going to take 60 Senate votes, a majority of the House, and a president to sign it. So no, we haven't had 60 Senate votes in over 100 years. We might have 45 pro-life senators. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban these state laws. So let's find consensus. Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions and good quality adoptions. Let's make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none of these state laws put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty for getting an abortion. Let's focus on how to save as many babies as we can and support as many moms as we can. And stop the judgment. We don't need to divide America over this issue anymore.
Point blank, period. I think if you are pro-life, a conservative, and you vote Republican, that should be your stock answer moving forward. I think that was the best answer of anybody on that stage last night. I would actually argue her answer to that question was the best answer to any question asked all night. I thought she nailed it. And I think she's got, I don't know what it is about her, because there's something missing, and it's not just because she can't beat Trump. There's just some element that's not resonating with the American people more. I don't know what it is, but she's pretty close to being about as good as you can be. It's just not. It's like DeSantis. But DeSantis's shortcoming is more quantifiable. You can see it, you can hear it, you feel it. I don't know what it is with her, but there's just one thing missing. But she nailed that.
Vivek also weighed in on this. This was his answer for that question.
Tommy, would you support a 15-week federal ban, and what is the path forward on this issue?
I just wanted to say, Nikki Haley did invoke being honest, and I just want to give credit to Tim Scott. He's honest about where he stood, and I think you should be honest, not making a political calculus, but to say, if a bill is served up, would you
watch this video, man? She just hates him. She is looking at him like, you are just a wretch of a human being.
She wants him dead.
Look at that's amazing. Oh, God. Anyway, sorry.
Here's my view on this. Speaking as a man, they say men have trouble speaking on this issue. I don't think we need to be that way. It was my home state of Ohio, I'm upset about this, yesterday, that passed a constitutional amendment that now effectively codifies a right to abortion all the way up to the time of birth without parental consent. Why? It's back to that Republican culture of losing. The Republicans did not have an alternative amendment or vision on the table. I know Ohio. I was born, raised, and I lived there. It's representative of the country. If in the state of Ohio we talked about access to contraception, adoption, and also here's the missing ingredient in this movement, sexual responsibility for men. We live in an era of reliable genetic paternity tests that are 100% reliable. So we can say men deserve more responsibility. So we can tell women we're all in this together. It's not men's rights versus women's rights. It's about human rights. And I come back to that case that Clarence Thomas spoke of. A pregnant woman walking down the street. She's assaulted. The unborn child dies in that assault. You find me one person in this country who says that that criminal does not deserve liability for that death. You won't find one. That says we share the same instincts on this issue, but we require, I believe, a different generation of leadership to actually lead us forward and unite the country on this with honesty.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is one of the times where Vivek's energy kind of works against him, considering this topic. Although he did say something there towards the end that I think needs to be said. Like, guys have to be more responsible with this as well. Like, if you're a guy and you don't want to get the woman that you're with pregnant, there are plenty of ways to avoid getting a lady pregnant. Like, men are not like deemed not at fault for some of this stuff. You know, this is not just, I think, female rights or pro-life versus pro-choice. This is personal accountability and responsibility. And some dudes just don't have any of it. So I think that needs to be said.
I'm going to go to cut 13 here, boys. So the question about Ukraine and funding was another big topic, and this is when Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy went at it again. It was really a show between these two last night, in my opinion. Cut 13, go.
Urgent new plea. Where do you stand on more funding?
I'm absolutely unpersuaded. And I'm actually enjoying watching the Ukraine hawks quietly, delicately tiptoe back from their position as this thing has unwound into a disaster. The first half of this race, I was the only person standing for it. Now they're actually quietly coming around to being more cautious, as they should. Level with the American people here. Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It has threatened not to hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more money. That is not democratic. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not democratic. Wow. More facts for you that you won't hear from the mainstream in either party or the mainstream media. The regions of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia right now in the Donbass, Luhansk, Donetsk, these are Russian-speaking regions that have not even been part of Ukraine since 2014, that other people probably couldn't name those provinces for you. Those are the hard facts. And so to frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil, don't buy it. And I'd like the likes of the sharpest of the war hawks on Ukraine, Nikki Haley, to have some accountability and answer. Do you want to use U.S. taxpayer money to fund the banning of Christians? That is actually what's happening. They're using the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. They have banned them. The Ukrainian parliament just did this last week, supported by our dollars. And I think you owe it to the American people, Nikki, to at least this one time at least condemn.
Thank you. That's time.
At least to condemn their banning of Christians.
Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you. Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you. We asked the questions. Ambassador Haley, what is your take on more funding for Ukraine?
I am telling you, Putin and President Xi are salivating at the thought that someone like that could become president. They would love to see
it. The fact of the matter is she doesn't answer
the question. So this is what I will tell you.
We're driving Russia into China's hands because of these foolish policies.
You had your time to talk. The ambassador has the floor.
Thank you. The first thing I'll tell you is we all remember what that thug did when he invaded Ukraine. We all know that 500,000 people have died because of Putin. And here is a freedom-loving, pro-American country that is fighting for its survival and its democracy. No, I don't think we should give them cash. I think we should give them the equipment and the ammunition to win. And I'll tell you, if Biden had done it when they first asked for it, this war would be over.
I think she's on the wrong side of that, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I love the fact that Vivek called Zelensky a comedian in cargo shorts. That was a great line.
No, he called him a Nazi. He called him a Nazi.
Yeah, he called him a Nazi.
I thought I heard comedian in cargo shorts. Did I mishear that?
I think at some point, didn't he say that?
He did. He called him a Nazi. Yes.
Because, and by the way, Zelensky's Jewish, but he did have that member of the Nazi party in his cabinet or something. Well, I believe that's what he's referring to.
I just love the beginning part where he's laying out all the things that most people are unaware of when it comes to Ukraine, Zelensky, the government, the media over there. Like, this is not just, and anytime you try to point out how awful it is over in that country, you're automatically labeled like pro-Putin and a supporter of Russia. I'm like, no, the hell with Putin. He's worthless as well. If we could take him out, I would love it. But the point being, like, Zelensky and Ukraine are not just like this little innocent, little feeble group of people that are getting steamrolled by the bully. Like, Vivek laid that out. Could we actually go back and hear like the first 35, 40 seconds of Vivek? I don't know that most people are aware of some of the restrictions that have been placed on the people in Ukraine. They are not a democracy like the United States of America. Well, let me know when we have that, just that first chunk of Vivek going off on Ukraine, because like that's why again I see people with these Ukraine flags all the time, and so it's one of these things that, you know what it is? It's a lot like the LGBTQ community when they say they support Palestine and Hamas. Some of these people are just not educated on who they are claiming that they support. Like, it's just always the real big bad bully against just this feeble nation that does no wrong by any other human rights, which is absolutely not true. Do we have that?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I just want to hear the beginning where
Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It has threatened not to hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more.
Right there. I mean, they're going to cancel elections. They're consolidating parties. They are making a state-run media. I mean, if any of that happened anywhere remotely close to the West, and people have the audacity to say that Trump's an authoritarian, I mean, look what's going on in Ukraine here.
More money. That is not democratic. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks.
I thought he said that, yeah. Comedian in cargo pants.
But he also said Nazi.
Okay.
Was he talking about, I don't know if he was talking about Zelensky, though. He said they celebrated a Nazi, which is what Dawn was trying to point out there.
Go ahead. Dawn, go ahead, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from that. So it started out last night with the Trump question because, of course, it's NBC. Of course, they want to. So Trump has this huge lead over all of them. How are they going to combat that? Ron DeSantis goes first. This is cut 10.
All of you. Donald Trump is the first ex-president in more than 100 years to run for the White House again. And he remains popular among Republican primary voters as his legal challenges mount. Governor DeSantis, let me begin with you on this one. Speak to Republican voters who are supporting Donald Trump. Why should you and not him be the Republican nominee to face Joe Biden a year from now?
This country is in trouble, and the elites that have put us here, they don't care about you. They don't care that you're having to grapple with higher grocery prices or have higher gas prices. They don't care that your family's less secure because of the open border that's allowed drugs and even terrorists to come into this country. Well, I care. I am not going to sit idly by and let this country continue its downward spiral. We need leadership, and we need it now. I'll take the hits. I'll take the arrows. I'll take the slings, because ultimately it's not about me. It's about you. I will fight for you. I will make sure to lead this country's revival, and I will win for you and your family. Actions speak louder than words. We don't have time for excuses, and it's not something that we're going to be able to have all these distractions. As a veteran, I will get the job done. Now, if you look where we are now, it's a lot different than we were in 2016. And Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing. In Florida, I showed how it's done. 1 year ago here, we won a historic victory, including a massive landslide right here in Miami-Dade County. That's how we have to do it. So I promise you this, as the nominee, next November I'll get the job done, and as president, I will deliver
your time
for
is
you.
up. Let me
So he makes some good points about what he's accomplished in the landslide victory.
Which we said he would say yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
But the reality is this. There's nobody that's even become close to a threat to Trump. So it's great strategy that you don't show up. I mean, there's nobody that has just jumped off the page and it hasn't translated in the polls. And that's the thing that's the most amazing to me. We sit here and we praise Vivek one day, or we praise Nikki one day, or this person has a great moment, or that's a great soundbite. None of it is resonating in any poll. Have we seen any poll where somebody has made a substantial closing of the gap on Trump? And I'm not talking about Nikki going from third to second or this person going from fourth to tied for second.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I don't see any.
what's just funny?
Robert Schwartz says, and make sure everyone has mustard.
Yeah, you're damn right.
Mustard.
Then we can do it this way as well.
Mustard. Mustard.
He looks so awkward in these debates. He really does. I think Dawn was pointing out when Vivek and Nikki Haley were going after one another.
Oh, he was uncomfortable.
He's kind of just standing in the middle, looking like it's he's really awkward.
Yes, he is.
And he's in his home state. So this is the most comfortable we've seen him.
That's right. Which, by the way, Trump's crushing him now in the state of Florida, too.
Looks like he lost a little bit more weight, too, guys. Did you notice that?
Yes.
His face looked a little thinner.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, and so now what's happening, he's lost so much weight that his head, so now his skin, he has like those folds. And I'm sorry to, I hate that I'm saying this, but I can't help it.
You don't hate that you're saying it, but it's fine.
But, you know what I mean? He has like these, so Then as the night went on and he started sweating, like in the mustache area above his upper lip.
Yeah.
And you could see like the beard growing, the mustache beard growing underneath there. And then it reminded me of like a dog mouth because he's got the thick folds like around his mouth.
We have a freeze frame of it now if you want to look.
YouTube.com/@1210
sweating on his lip, and I'm thinking, the guy has great policies, and I like so much about him. And again, it's like that Olympian on the balance beam, and I want to cheer for them, but they're just a little bit shaky. And
He also needs a suit that fits him. A little better.
His pants. It looked like his belt.
Yeah,
like he was like hiking his belt,
Yeah,
like he's wearing his dad's pants.
Yeah, he looked like the little kid at communion.
He went to the Clay Travis School of Fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Another guy that can never find a suit that fits him. It's not that hard, folks. When you got money, you should find a tailor that can make you look good.
But to your point, that's how he's losing weight fast.
Yep. Ramaswamy Vivek asked, being asked about Trump, that same first question. This is what he said, cut 11.
Voters want and need to hear them. Mr. Ramaswamy, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ross.
This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you...
Flamethrower.
Boy, he roasted everybody. From Welker to the mainstream media to Ronna McDaniel. He took everybody out.
Yeah.
I mean, he just basically grabbed the grenade, pulled the clip, and tossed it.
Yeah, I mean, look, he took a page from Trump's playbook.
He did,
and I think it worked. I think it worked well for him, but I don't think that. I mean, upping his profile,
of
for
course.
places like this and others, but I don't think it got him anywhere in the
True.
GOP primary.
But it was kind of. I mean, I laughed out loud.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll flip the time to you, Kristen. Go.
Well, Kristen handled it well too.
She did. She laughed,
sat there and smiled. So.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
All right. Finally, the question then was to low energy Chris Christie, and he never misses an opportunity to take a shot at Trump. Cut 12.
Why you and not former President Trump?
Well, Lester, look, you said it at the beginning of the debate. We are dealing with extraordinarily important issues facing this country right now. We have our greatest ally in the Middle East under fire from a terrorist group that has committed to wiping them and every Jewish person in this world off the map. We have Ukraine with Vladimir Putin, a communist KGB dictator who wants to put the old band back together. He's starting in Ukraine, and he's going to move to the Baltics and Poland after that. We have inflation in this country that is choking every American family that wants to try to rise up and give their children a better life. And tonight, we need to decide which president is going to be the one to tackle the big issues, who's going to make this country look once again, not just inward, but look outward at the world and say America is the country, the indispensable nation that makes this a safer world. And in a safer world, American innovation, American hard work has always been the thing that has driven our country to greater things. I'm going to be the president who will do those big things. We're not going to be small, and I'll say this about Donald Trump. Anybody who's going to be spending the next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party or this country,
All right,
and it
Governor.
needs to be said plainly.
Governor, thank you. Let me turn to Senator.
You know, I thought he was pretty low energy. I thought, because I played you that clip in the Big Take this morning, and if you're judging the speech based on the reaction of the crowd, that was the lowest and kind of the lightest reaction of anybody.
Yeah. But Dawn had a great point, I think, where she said that he this is the first time where he looked the most presidential. He was very laid back. He had, I don't think they were good answers, but good answers for,
and only
the
one
situation.
Only one shot at Trump towards the end about keeping himself out of jail.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that they should all drop out.
That's what I said in the Big Take.
Yeah. It's
why are we continuing this fiasco?
Yeah, I know.
It's not even for ratings, because think about this.
Yeah, there's no ratings.
It was a Republican primary hosted by left-wing media, and then you also have probably some Republicans that didn't want to tune into left-wing media. And the people that typically watch NBC probably weren't sitting there watching Republicans.
It's true.
So the whole thing, whoever it was that said, do you think Greg Gutfeld would be up here? That was pretty good.
That was Vivek.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm sure Greg Gutfeld, that he's going to play that up big.
Oh, yeah. They'll be talking about that at 5:03.
Well, it's an interesting point, because you hear all the time, because, would the Democrats have a debate hosted by Fox News?
Right. Never.
And they won't. So it's
So was this an attempt to try to attract moderates, just by flat out having it on mainstream media hosted by NBC hosts and moderators?
To me, I cheered at that, because, and we've had, how many times have we talked about the media? And so we started out this morning, Nick, your Big Take, and then you were talking about the trio of, you're talking about Ronna McDaniel, and you're talking about McCarthy and McConnell, the trio, right?
Mm-hmm.
The old guard.
The old guard has to go.
Yes. And so to that, if you look at the trio, then what else is the old guard? Ronna McDaniel, why would Republicans want to go with NBC News, thinking, well, they're the mainstream media, they're the credible media? Are they?
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody like Vivek, who always thinks outside the box, is thinking, we don't need them. They're a dying entity as far as archaic, old school media. They're gone. They're not credible anymore. And so why not look to a different kind of media where people can trust them?
Yep.
I thought that was a tremendous point, and I loved that he made it.
All right. That'll do it for round number 1 of what is on the cut sheet. We'll come back, wrap up the 8 o'clock hour, get to Dawn's Big 3, and then also we have an update with the Nashville Shooters Manifesto, as 7 police officers in Nashville placed on administrative assignment after the leak. And then also we've got some media stuff to get to in the final hour, including Joe Rogan, CNN, and the Washington Post, as we continue Kayal and Company Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. With the Birds on an off week this week, a bye week, it's a great time to download the FanDuel app and make the games that you probably don't care about a little bit more interesting. I'm taking San Francisco with a money line at minus 164 against Jacksonville. You can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if San Francisco wins. I love the FanDuel app. It's so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, from spreads, player props, to over-unders, so much more. Go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg right now, and sign up. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager. Only $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I thought I was going to have to go through a hip replacement or some painful, unsuccessful surgery or be crippled the rest of my life.
Electrical engineer Dan Vogler had awful arthritic pain in his hips. Pain that not only affected him physically, but also emotionally. And it spilled over even to his relationships.
I was almost mean. If you're in pain and other people don't sympathize with it, you're lashing out at the wrong people.
But then Dan found QC Kinetics. With the latest advances in regenerative medicine, non-surgical treatments with lasting relief.
I felt immediate relief. I mean, within half a day, much of the inflammation and pain was down.
And today, Dan says he's totally pain-free, living the life he wants.
At the end of the fourth treatment, I felt pretty much healed and enthused and was raving about QC Kinetics. I can recommend them highly to anyone.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the president and CEO of the leading analytics firm over Wall Street, Delbar Incorporated, Lou Harvey, who explains why Wall Street is not set up to have a fiduciary duty to the everyday investor.
Wall Street is not set up to handle a fiduciary relationship. Too expensive to replace all of my compensation systems, retrain all of my people. The whole structure that's been built over the last 100 years would have to be turned on end. I would have to be brutally negative. We have an industry that has been built on caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Hear this and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Spring Mill Manor, November 14th. Registration is required. Call Crash Proof Retirement, 800-722-9728.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Question for you. How many healthcare providers do you know who schedule downtime in their offices for team training? Not many. But my good friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz does that because he wants to ensure that he and his staff are well-versed in all the latest technology, so when he invests in new state-of-the-art equipment for his patients, he can rest assured that he and his staff can maximize the performance of the new technology. One of their latest investments is the Trios 5 scanner. Talk about amazing. The Trios 5 has an incredible design which reduces the potential for patients gagging or experiencing discomfort during the impression-taking process. Plus, the process is much faster, which saves Dr. Bentz and his patients precious time. The scans are done, the plan is made, and the on-site lab gets to work. Dr. Bentz and his staff are a well-oiled machine when it comes to your comprehensive dental care. They're always working to make that experience as comfortable and as seamless as it can be. Visit them at BentzDentalGroup.com.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yeah, baby. Kayal Company. It is 8:48 Thursday morning. Hopefully all of you off to a good start on your Thursday. Nick, Dawn, and Greg as we head till 10 o'clock this morning. Busy, busy day. So many big stories in the news. If you are just tuning in, I don't know where you have been, but shame on you. But we do give you the chance to make up for it. The Odyssey app, download it today. Use the rewind feature. Of course, you can get us on YouTube. The big take this morning on the third primary debate for the Republican Party last night. Also, Mitch McConnell now rumored to be on the chopping block, so to speak. And then also some stuff in Pennsylvania with how Republicans can take the state back. Courtesy of our buddy Athen Koutsarumbas, which does involve Donald J. Trump, and also some panic within the Biden administration as our buddy Michael LaRosa, the former staffer for Jill Biden, went on a Twitter tirade saying that Joe needs to blow up his entire team, get a new staff, because these polling numbers that are out are unacceptable. Also, Hunter Biden and James Biden to be subpoenaed by James Comer and the House Republicans. So that's kind of where we are at. Loaded cut sheet. If you missed any of that, part due coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll kick off the 9 o'clock hour with Dawn's Big Three as well. But I do want to mention this story because we had the big take, I think it was on Tuesday, the leak of the Nashville shooter and the manifesto came out. And it was basically, and I forget the guy's name now, but I've never even heard of this guy, but he had like 2 million followers. He does some sort of conservative type talk show. I don't know if it's a podcast or a live Twitter show or whatever, but he was able to break the news and release multiple images. These were not crime scene photos, but it does look like they have been corroborated that this was a few of the pages of the deranged individual. I won't mention her name.
Steven Crowder.
Steven Crowder, that is correct. I don't even know. Should I know that name? Did you know that name, Dawn? I don't know that name.
We've probably heard the name and seen the stuff, but he's not like a big.
Right.
I don't think he's a huge.
There's some names I've heard of before, and some others not so much.
He is huge, guys.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to be nice, Greg. Will you just shut it?
Yeah, I mean, if I would have said I know him and I liked him, Greg would have been like, "Oh, he's just a troll. Stop! Don't read his tweets." But this guy, credit to him, he does what I think the American people deserved, and that was to get this manifesto released so we can see what was involved and what the thought process was and the mentality and the mindset of this sick, twisted individual. So now the fallout is beginning to happen as Nashville police say they have placed 7 officers on administrative assignment after the purported leak of the Christian school shooters manifesto. This from FoxNews.com. The Metro Nashville Police Department said that 7 individuals were placed on administrative assignment following the purported leak of portions of the Covenant school shooter, and I won't say her name, her manifesto that was found after the killing of 3 adults and 3 9-year-olds in March. 7 individuals are, quote, placed on administrative assignment to protect the integrity of the active, progressing investigation. All 7 have full police power. We're not identifying any of the 7 by name. It's not fair to them, a police department spokesperson said Wednesday afternoon. Unverified documents appearing to be crime scene photographs of the killer's photos and notes would explain why police quickly called the mass shooting calculated and planned, although obviously they did not release the manifesto. I don't think it's fair that these individuals be placed on leave. This has been one of these stories to me where I've said in the past, usually when it fits a certain narrative, we are the first to know about it. If this shooter in Nashville would have fit the description that the mainstream media runs with, that the left loves to use in their promotion of fear, if this was a white man, Republican, believer in the Second Amendment, shared social media views that skewed conservative or right, if he was seen in a red hat, in a truck, we would know about it. And we knew about this. Think about the levels of information we got from the main shooting in a matter of hours to days, as opposed to the way this story played out. And of course, the reason why is, well, who does this person belong to within? And I hate putting people in boxes, but that's what we do in society. This person was a LGBTQ trans member. And what have we heard from Karine Jean-Pierre? What have we heard from this administration? The trans community is under attack. Yet here, it was a trans member that murdered innocent children, innocent school teachers, a custodian. I mean, you're going to a small little private school, and we read you. Well, I read you in the big take, and I won't do it again. You can go back and get it from Tuesday, verbatim, what was written out in this manifesto. And it's disturbing. It's filled with anger. It's filled with hate, rage, and vitriol. And, I think at the end of the day, and we gave him credit, but we should give him credit again. I think that the Metro Nashville Police Department responded and took care of the threat in a matter of 12 to 14 minutes, I believe it was.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I mean, putting officers on leave for this, obviously you want to protect an investigation, but it's not about protecting an investigation at this point. This, to me, has been the cover-up. The Biden administration doesn't want to talk about it. The media put this right on the back burner, And people out there want to know what this was about. And again, if it's about being fair and balanced, we find out when it's the angry white man. But when it's a minority, a female, somebody that identifies of a different gender, we never seem to hear all the details. It just goes away. And that's where we are.
Yeah, you're right. A couple of things. First, I know that we always fight for transparency. On the other hand, the victims' families were the ones who begged for this notebook. They call it a manifesto. It's a spiral notebook of this nut job ranting. And the victims' families had begged authorities not to release it because they said this just emboldens this nut job who murdered, little children and our loved ones. Please don't release it. Please don't, because also we know that when something like this happens and then it gets in the media, copycats happen tragically. So part of me, I know that we're not supposed to do that, right? You're supposed to have transparency and policy, but the victims' families did beg for this.
Would this fall under freedom of information? Yeah.
But in this case, I don't know why, unless they have insider information, because we talked about the fact there were all these lawsuits and filings, which mean a lot of people would have had access to those. And so my usual suspect would be it could have been anywhere. I mean, if somebody's printing it at the copy machine in the court, who has access to that? All those different individuals involved in the legal procedure, up and down the ladder of that. And you're talking about dozens of people. So the fact that they're trying to point to police officers, a law enforcement leak, are they laying off all the people in the court that are involved in an office by the copy machine, et cetera, who are printing all those hard copies, which they must do?
Yeah, good point. Elon Musk said on Twitter in regards to the notebook and these pictures that were posted of all the things that were written down, clearly mentally ill, but also clearly brainwashed into being a mass murderer by the system. That was a tweet from Elon Musk in regards to the manifesto, the notebook, whatever you want to call it, being released. And if you haven't seen the images and what's written on it, very, very disturbing. I don't think anybody can debate or dispute that it is clearly a mental health issue. So that's kind of the update with that. 855-839-1210, the number if you want to jump in. So here's what we got coming up. Final hour of the show. We'll get to Dawn's Big Three at 9. We've also got our morning mystery movie clip, What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, who won Twitter and YouTube today, and what's on tap for the Dawn Show. I do want to get to some stuff in the world of media with Joe Rogan, also CNN in the news yet again. And surprise, surprise, they're back at it. I think this needs to be a match at WrestleMania next year in Philadelphia. Riley Gaines and Keith Olbermann going at it yet again. Keith Olbermann attacking Riley Gaines on social media, and the former swimmer at Kentucky was prepared.
Is he anything but an internet troll?
I know.
What is he doing? He's picking fights with Riley Gaines?
He can't help himself. He's just so inconsequent. He's so irrelevant that he just
Isn't
literally...
he like 70?
He is.
Yeah, and he's nasty. And if this were a Democrat or LGBTQ plus, switch the roles.
Oh, yes.
Imagine a white guy who's a Republican, a MAGA Republican, doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Fired and canceled.
No doubt about it.
Let's get to that right at 9.
We will get that on the other side. It's Kayal and Company as we continue. But right now, Dawn Stensland with a word for QC Kinetics.
Yeah, because you got to check out QC Kinetics. Seriously, this is the future of joint pain relief, and it's right here in our region, in the Philadelphia region. Advanced regenerative medicine. So many of you have said, Dawn, this is like a miracle in my life. So here's the thing. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, would you just hold up a second here and get a second opinion? Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents and attack that joint pain directly. I'm talking lasting relief, because QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties that are placed directly into your aching joint. And what does that do? It restores and repairs that damaged tissue. So think about this. Just picture yourself living your life this fall. I mean, today, nearly 70 degrees, this gorgeous day. I mean, think about your golf game, going for a walk, doing what you love to do with no more pain in your knees, your aching hips, your shoulder, your aching back. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Life is about moving, right? Motion, which is good for your whole body, mind, soul, right? QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Just call them, would you? Call the local medical professionals. Get a free consultation today. Do this. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000. Call them by noon. Just do this. By noon. 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. It's football season. One of the big questions, are the Birds going to get another ring? Well, I don't know the answer to that one, but if you have a woman in your life that is looking for her own ring and you want to give it to her, I can tell you the answer of where to get it from is Family and Company Jewelers in Marlton, New Jersey. The only place I recommend to visit for your engagement ring, wedding band, whatever it is you may need. With the largest inventory in the area and, of course, great prices. Family and Company Jewelers, they're South Jersey's diamond destination and also available online at FamilyJewelers.com. That's FamilyJewelers.com.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have started a huge renovation. Take our already incredibly generous offers and add an additional $1,000 off all new Volvos, plus owner loyalty, plus up to $2,000 when financing or leasing with Volvo cars, plus $7,500 lease rebate on all plug-in Volvos. This is a fabulous time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo. This month's offers are incredible, and we must make space for all the construction vehicles. Visit us now.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Michigan. Coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get you and your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You are fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. They're with you every step of the way. Absolutely no shots, no hormones, no surgery. Locations close by in King of Prussia, Newark, Delaware, and Cherry Hill. 855-5NJ-DIET. Or from home with live online video consultations. NJDiet.com. 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed. NJDiet.com.
If you have Medicare plan questions and are turning 65 and getting inundated by mail and phone calls, learn the A, B, C, and D's of Medicare. Let the Senior Store answer all of your questions. Get your free evaluation today by visiting the Enrollment Center. Call a local Senior Store licensed agent at 877-U-LEARN-65 or by setting up an in-home visit. That's 877-U-LEARN-65 or visit theseniorstore.com. Enrollment starts October 15th. Not affiliated with the U.S. government or federal Medicare program.
Calling on Atco, New Jersey to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
She says her love for me could never die, but that'd change if she ever found out about you and I.
9:05, fourth and final hour underway on this Thursday morning of Kayal and Company. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Dawn's Big Three in about 10 minutes. Morning Mystery Movie Clip at 9:20. Part 2 of the cut sheet coming up in just about a half hour. So a couple of stories we'll get to, really all of which are media related here over the next 10 minutes and right after that as well. We got to get to Joe Rogan and CNN, but this I would classify actually now as a media battle because Riley Gaines is kind of officially in the media doing some stuff with Outkick. Not only is she a great athlete or was a great athlete at Kentucky and a speaker and an advocate for women's rights, but I do believe she's now a paid employee at Outkick and Fox. So this would qualify as a media battle, a little dust up again between a deranged old man who once was funny, was entertaining, was on ESPN, was good friends with Tony Bruno, and now he's just a bitter old man in his high-rise in Manhattan overlooking Central Park, picking fights with females. And Keith Olbermann and Riley Gaines have gone at it probably 2 or 3 different times in the past. But this is their latest dust-up that's going on as Keith Olbermann decides to, and from what I gather here, and I have no idea why he's even actually going after Riley Gaines, because Keith Olbermann on Twitter yesterday was posting something about an election poll with Joe Biden and Donald Trump and RFK Jr., and the polling, and I'm not sure which source this was, but it had Biden up 1 point on Trump, 40 to 39%, with Kennedy trailing at 12%. And then Keith Olbermann responds to what I'm gathering is, it looks like from the way I interpret this, somebody tweeted him about the poll that he posted, a guy named Brent Buchanan. He says he's some sort of pollster. And and Olbermann responds with PS at Riley_Gaines manufactured a controversy over a non-existent issue to cover up her swimming mediocrity, even for the SEC, he says in brackets, and a raging transphobe. I originally wrote homophobe by mistake. My apology. So I don't even understand what that has to do with Riley Gaines, but he tagged her in the tweet, to which Riley Gaines fires back and says, hopping on this early just so I can see an accurate ratio. Get a grip, Keith. Do I need to bring this video back? And she posts the video of her holding her awards from the SEC. Now, if you paid attention to what her accolades are, she's a highly decorated swimmer in the SEC who, if it wasn't for Leah Thomas, probably wins the national championship in 2022. So once again, Keith Olbermann, uneducated, triggered, unhinged, and completely off base as she was first team All-SEC and ended up on the podium at the national championships. So Riley Gaines takes care of him yet again. And Dawn, you make a great point, because if this was a retired Republican conservative talk show host who was relegated to his apartment, spending his day on Twitter all day long, and he came after any female, much less somebody in the LGBT community, a minority, anybody that is in the Biden administration camp that falls under the umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, you can't cancel somebody that doesn't have a job, so I don't know that Keith Olbermann can be canceled because nobody will employ him anyway. But you're spot on. Flip the roles around, flip the parties around, and flip who's the attacker and the attackee, and you would absolutely have a cause for people to lose their minds.
Yeah, what a jerk.
I know.
She's a champion. She's an American athletic champion. And he questions that, and, good for her for handling it the way she has, but he's just an icky guy who's nasty. And if he were wearing a red MAGA hat, if he were a conservative and or a Republican, he would be blasted on and you'd see it on the so-called mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
You'd see it on Kristen Welker's show, who unfortunately former Governor Christie called Kirsten repeatedly, which I didn't understand.
Oh, I didn't even
Did you notice that?
No, I did not.
By the way, I forgot to say that earlier.
Wow, I did not pick up on that. No.
But,
okay. Yeah, no, you're right. And here's the thing that bothers me the most about this is Riley Gaines didn't want any of this. She didn't go out and seek this attention. This wasn't like her life's mission. Remember, when we had her on the show, she wanted to be, I think, a dentist.
Yeah.
She was going to go to dental school after her collegiate swimming career was over. She graduates from Kentucky, so she'll have her degree, and she wanted to go into that profession. And maybe she could actually fix my crown and my cap and my tooth right now. That's bothering me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it's a different battle. So, she wanted to do all of this. She was denied, what she believes was, and I believe as well, and I think most normal adults believe as well, she was denied her opportunity to be a national champion in college athletics because Leah Thomas all of a sudden says, you know what, I don't want to swim with the boys anymore. I want to swim against the girls, which is outrageous. And then she gets denied that. And then she speaks up about it. And this, she's kind of the poster child for this. So now she's used this as a, like a launching pad for her own career. She's clearly in demand. I think she's probably going to make a nice living doing media. I think she does a show for Outkick. It's called Gains for Girls, and it goes beyond just, I think she talks about stuff other than just this trans invasion of female sports. So she's probably going to end up having a pretty successful media career, which maybe is the blessing in disguise. But, there's other females out there. The other females at Penn that were told, don't say a word, don't speak up about it. And we're basically told to shut up or there's going to be repercussions. And we've talked about this being one of the issues that Republicans can bring to the table come election season. And maybe there's a ceiling on this. Maybe this is such an obvious no-brainer that it's not going to determine the outcome of elections. And I don't even know really where you would slot the protection of female athletics in, to your curriculum, so to speak, of what you're trying to advocate for as a politician. I would think it matters, but I don't think you ever build a campaign around it. But I think this resonates, and we gave you that Washington Post and the NBC Gallup poll. 72% of Americans do not believe that biological men should be able to compete against females in athletics. And Riley Gaines made a lot of headlines over the weekend when she posted a video that probably would have gone under the radar unless some people with massive followings on social media shared it. There was a field hockey match over the weekend where a biological male was competing against females. And the video's a little hard to see, but he absolutely levels the female, I think. And he either knocks her out cold and gives her a concussion or maybe busted up some of her face. I don't know the specifics, but it was shared. And then somebody else, I think it was Greg Price on Twitter, did some research and found out who the biological male is. And there's actually a picture of him, I guess, before one of the games where 3 or 4 females are kind of holding him up as he lays across their arms while they stand, and you get to see just how massive this dude is. Now, in the picture, it looks like the females are pretty receptive to the fact there's a biological male on their team. So, but I don't know the dynamics of the locker room or how they really feel. But you see the picture of the guy, and it's just like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. If you're 6'1", 180 pounds, and you're playing against girls that are 5'3", 135, I mean, you could do some serious physical damage if you have any physical contact with these females, which is why we created a separation of sports between men and females. So figured we would get into that, and then we can get into these other 2 media stories on the other side of the big 3 in the movie clip. Joe Rogan, who, again, and I've said, like, I get the success, and I know he's popular. I don't know the attraction to what he does, why it's so popular, but his contract with Spotify is up. So we're going to get into that story, as well as the CNN anchors that host the New Year's Eve bash on CNN are now advocating that the alcohol ban should be lifted so they can drink on the job. We'll get to that story, but right now let's get to more pertinent stories. Dawn Stenslin with the Big 3 at 9:15.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal and Company.
Yeah, Big 3 at 9, and this fits right in with what you've been reporting on, because did you know Joe Biden, him? Yes, the Biden administration and their HHS department is now imposing a transgender pronoun mandate on all employees who will now be forced to deny what many advocates say deny biological realities, and you could be fired if you don't abide by their gender pronoun policy.
So you wait. So you need to give pronouns?
Give and say the pronouns of the others
that use them.
And if you don't, you could be fired.
So this goes back to all of our TikTok videos where people that get bothered because they get misgendered and people didn't address them by their proper pronouns, which I've had the conversation on the show. Like I just can't, I can't picture how that scenario goes where those conversations are had where you don't use them properly, or maybe you don't know that you have to use them. But good luck enforcing that. Now, are they making everybody have to give pronouns, or just those that decide to use them, they need to be addressed that way?
Yeah, I'll have to look. That's a great question.
Because I'll be damned the day anybody tells me I have to use pronouns. That's the day I walk out. Any place.
She, her. No, I'm just teasing you. Totally teasing
and my
you.
pronouns would be F you.
So, and by the way, I believe this is in part with the help of our former health czar here in Pennsylvania, one Dr. Rachel Levine. So just to tie in, a former Pennsylvania official involved in helping with this policy. But there are many speaking out about this, saying that this violates employees' rights. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they're saying that this imposition of, the transgender pronoun, it's a mandate on the employees.
Oh, great. More mandates from the Biden administration.
And so they're saying this could be a First Amendment face-off, because the First Amendment would protect federal employees if you don't want to engage in all of that stuff, but you don't say somebody's pronoun, I guess, by omission. There are many employees saying, what? Is it by omission? Is it if you accidentally, or you do call somebody he, and it's and this is a she? What a tangled web this opens up.
I have some audio, and I think it's a little bit long, so we can maybe do it after the clip. But there was a clip that I found over the weekend of our favorite senator from Louisiana, Mr. Kennedy, where he was going off in a setting about a judge mandate where the judge said you had to use pronouns in his courtroom. This is a phenomenal piece of audio. If you love Mr. Kennedy, stay tuned. We'll play it for you on the other side.
So, okay, so we got to get to that. And let me get to other news of the day. As also, by the way, Marvel is writing permission slips that you can print out for fans looking to skip school or work for its new releases.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Or we could just take our kids to the movies at 7 o'clock, like most people used to do.
Brilliant.
So, if you're on the YouTube link, I'll put it up here. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Here's my little prop. because this is the permission slip.
Dawn showing props now on
I'm
YouTube.
showing a little prop for you. Here it is.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
Okay. So all you have to do is print it out, and then I guess your boss would, Greg Stocker, I don't know if he would approve of this, but Marvel hits theaters, obviously today, Loki season 2 finale, and it starts streaming tonight on Disney Plus Marvel Studios. So they're writing fans these permission slips.
Wow.
Meant to give them a little backup if you want to sit back and watch 2 releases that drop today. It's your excuse note.
It's got the Marvel logo right at the top.
Right?
It's amazing.
It's a formal.
Kinda
It's
cute.
a formal document.
I like that you printed it out too, Dawn.
I know.
I planned ahead so I could have a prop for, you know.
Or are you going to use this?
Yeah, maybe. I thought I'll give it to my kids, right? It says, for all time, always, higher, further, faster, love Marvel Studios. I thought that was pretty cute. Please excuse. Please excuse Anthony Dorenzo early from work or school.
Speaking of props, do you have any props for Thursday Night Football? I need a few names.
Very good. I love it. Also today, just a little Philadelphia tidbit for you that we're watching to see. Sherelle Parker is holding a 10 a.m. news conference today. So she's transitioning. We have another trans story. She's transitioning today, working with the current Kenney administration. So we'll learn a little bit more and get some insights into our 100th Philadelphia mayor-elect, Sherelle Parker. So she's beginning the transition into leading Philadelphia as the 100th mayor. This is Kayal and Company, Big 3.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. We'll get to that Senator Kennedy audio rant about pronouns in a courtroom coming up in just a couple of minutes. But right now, it's time for the Morning Mystery Movie Clip.
And now, the Morning Mystery Movie Clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is not my enormous coat. I, of course, lost the stylish one that fits me at the airport.
So, where's your son? I mean, don't you have a little
Daughter. She's not so little. I mean, she's not fat.
She's 18. Hey, gosh, speaking of coats, isn't yours endangered?
This? Yes. But I mean, you know, it wasn't when I bought it.
Well, then, I guess you did your part, huh?
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
And the prize today is a pair of tickets to see a very Philly Christmas at Kimmel Center, Verizon Hall, Saturday, December 2nd at 3 p.m., featuring Broadway singers and dancers, local choirs, and the No Name Pops in brilliant new arrangements of your favorite holiday songs, plus lots of surprises and some essentially Philly fun. Caller 12-855-839-1210. Good luck. See if we get our winner on the other side. Kayal and Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Have you heard all the talk about fresh pet food? Well, at Dogs and Cats Rule, when it comes to fresh, healthy ingredients, we lead the way. Hi, I'm George Peretti, and I'm here to tell you there's nothing better nutrition-wise than fresh food for your pet. Stop in to one of our 7 neighborhood locations and ask our expert staff how a real, fresh, meat-based diet can change your pet's overall health and well-being. Shop online at dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
It's Chip Snapper's Tap Room.
By the way, the girls on the avenue wanted me to let you know that even though the Phillies didn't go all the way this year, they will, and it'll only cost you about $11.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater Saturday, November 18th for 2 shows, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com.
With the right treatment and support, recovery from addiction is not just possible, it is probable. Millions of Americans have gone on to live fulfilling lives in recovery from addiction. You can start your journey to recovery today. Call 1-800-662-4357 for drug and alcohol treatment and support services in your area. Recovery starts with a call. Contact 1-800-662-HELP today.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
WPHT, WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Water quality continues to be a topic. Ensure your family is drinking clean, pure water with the Connecticut water system from Martin Water Conditioning. The Connecticut system removes all the impurities from your water. What comes out of the tap is crystal clear, all-natural, delicious water. Put the Martin Water Conditioning family's passion for water to work for you. Do what I did. Contact Martin Water Conditioning. Mention DOM 2023 to receive an exclusive offer. DOM 2023. Visit martinwater.com. martinwater.com.
Make the hiring process work for you. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
SAG-AFTRA has reached a tentative agreement with the Hollywood studios, moving to end an almost 4-month strike. United Nations says about 50,000 Palestinians fled southward from northern Gaza on Wednesday, most of them on foot. Abortion, immigration, and Social Security were among the topics at Wednesday night's GOP presidential debate.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Just picture yourself sipping a beautiful glass of red wine, maybe a limoncello, from your hotel balcony as you savor the beautiful sunset beyond the Isle of Capri. That's right, the Amalfi Coast, Positano, Sorrento, Capri. Join me next spring as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with my friends from Conservative Tours. Yeah, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii. We'll have plenty of time to see all the great sites, including the ancient sites in Rome as well, all while enjoying a gastronomical event for 12 days of touring. Olive oil production, a mozzarella farm, the wineries. Yeah, can't wait for the tasting sessions. The group dining events they're known for are legendary. 5267. Yeah, 5267 includes nonstop airfare while supplies last. Just call toll-free 888-733-9494. Go to conservativetours.com. Scroll down. You see my picture, the itinerary. Yes, my husband, Larry Menti, Michael and David, our teenage sons, they're going too. It's our trip of a lifetime. If you have questions, just call toll-free 888-733-9494. Of course, we will go to Puglia, charming villages, unparalleled cuisine, which, by the way, is known as Italy's best-kept secret. Unspoiled, it's where the locals go to vacation. Authentically Italian. ConservativeTours.com. Join me, won't you? Tell them Dawn sent you.
Dawn Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Dom Giordano noon till 3. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, 928 Thursday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Still ahead this morning, who won Twitter and YouTube, what's on tap for the Dawn Show, and what's on the cut sheet part 2. And also, speaking of the cut sheet, some great audio. You heard Dawn with the mandates of the pronouns from the Biden administration in her big 3. Wait till you hear Mr. Kennedy's thoughts from Louisiana on pronouns in the courtroom. We'll get to that coming up in just a moment. But first, we've got our morning mystery movie clip winner on the line. Cindy has it identified. Cindy, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
We are doing well. What was the movie we just played for you, dear?
Home for the Holidays.
Ah, yes, indeed. Home for the Holidays, indeed. That is correct. And you have got the prize, Cindy, as you got the tickets for Saturday, December 2nd at 3 p.m. So congratulations, and we appreciate you listening and playing.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
All right, there she is. Cindy nailed it right away. All right, this is great. I saw this. I don't know. This had to be Sunday. I don't know, before the Eagles-Cowboys game came on. And I'm like, oh, we got to play this. This is phenomenal. So I believe the setting here is John Kennedy, Republican senator from Louisiana, and I believe it was some judge that he chews into here over the forced mandate of using pronouns in his court, which actually fits perfectly with what Dawn just mentioned about the Biden administration and that mandate moving forward. So let's take a listen. I think this is about 2.5 minutes long. Mr. Kennedy takes this individual to task for using pronouns. Oh, no, it froze.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to repeat what my colleague, Senator Cruz, said about Judge Casabai, but he's not qualified to be on the federal bench. And everybody on this in this hearing today knows that. You heard the same testimony I heard. He's entitled to his beliefs. Look, about 90% of my personal philosophy is don't hurt somebody unless you have to defend yourself. Don't steal other people's stuff, and leave me alone. If you want to use different pronouns, that is your business. I may not agree, I may not do it, but that's your business. This is America, and you're free to do that. But this judge used his authority to require litigants in his courtroom to do what he thinks is politically correct. And he did that as a magistrate judge. And he'll do it as a federal district judge, and you know it. Once again, I don't care what his political beliefs are, but he has no right as a sitting judge to direct in writing litigants in his courtroom to stand up and introduce themselves by saying, my name is John Kennedy. My preferred pronouns are. Now, the judge said in his testimony that was voluntary. That's not true. I've read the order. And he said, but it's voluntary. It's voluntary. Right. I'm a litigant in his courtroom paying a lawyer $400 an hour to try to get my case resolved. And the man on the bench who's going to decide my case tells me to stand up and announce my pronoun. That's not voluntary. That's oppressive.
John Kennedy, senator from Louisiana. Could you imagine that? You go to a magistrate. Boy, my aunt used to be a magistrate. I told you my uncle was a narcotics officer for 27 years, and his wife was a magistrate. Imagine going to a magistrate's office for a speeding violation or a low-level misdemeanor, and the magistrate who's got ambitions and aspirations to be on a federal bench is requiring you to use pronouns in her court. Can you imagine that? Like, I laugh at the whole concept, like, because nowadays, especially in a lot of like doctors' offices, if it's really up to date and they give you, like, you notice you no longer get like the packet of paper to fill out. They give you like a little tablet, like those little Microsoft Surfaces, and then you put your name and your date of birth and your sexual orientation, your gender, and then there's the preferred pronouns and all this other stuff. I can't imagine what that must feel like when a judge actually has the audacity to say that is required in my court. And Dawn, what was the specific context of the Biden administration? They're going to make that used for federal employees? If I recall what you said?
Yeah, and there's actually a YouTube video. If we don't have time for this, I'll do it in the 10 o'clock hour. I'll mail it to you guys.
Okay.
She's going to mail it to us, so it should get us in 5 days.
No, I meant email. Sorry. This is like a training video from you know where, and it's like, hello, I'm Dr. Admiral Rachel Levine, and it's like a training video telling you what you're required, but you could be fired.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it also talks about the everybody, you use the restroom that is aligning with your gender ID.
Mhm.
You see?
Yep.
So this is all going to lead to a whopper.
Yep.
And this is just the beginning, because it's just the
Mhm.
Biden administration rolling this out in one department, but now it's going to be the entire government.
Oh yeah.
And again, like we're kind people. If we had somebody here who said
Sure.
if somebody says like fine, I'm going to be respectful.
Yeah.
Just like I put deodorant on in the morning and I brush my teeth because I'm a respectful person. I do it for others as well.
Mhm.
But to make this a requirement whereby you could be fired.
I know. And, like Kennedy said, if you want to have and identify with pronouns, that's your right. Go right ahead. That's what makes America great. I might disagree with it. But to your point, if we had somebody at this station, I'll make it real personal. At this station, let's say we had somebody that used their pronouns on this show. If there's any type of setting where instead of me saying the word she and you prefer it to be Bill, Betty. I don't see where I'm going to use pronoun conversation. I mean, unless we're having a conversation and I'm like, boy, he's really he's slacking today. Oh no, it's not he. It's my fault. Okay. You to acknowledge that and use them in the right setting. I'm 39 and I still get the grammar jar going here.
Well, I have a friend and her son. Their son has some learning differences in a public school, and there was a kid in grade school, middle school, changed their gender identity. The kid just didn't mean to do anything, but to your point, there's a lot going on in school and the focus there, and so this poor kid accidentally just called somebody a he, but now they identify as she, and the kid just got confused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like a sixth grader and got in trouble.
Yep.
That's the kind of thing so the parent on what is saying, you're kidding me, right?
Right. And then these teachers take joy in confusing everybody. We've seen those videos on TikTok where they're like basking in the glory of confusing people and mind-effing people because nobody can figure out what the heck this person is really going through or what he's trying. So I got to be punished for your mental health breakdown. That's what you're telling me. Okay.
Yeah, and think about this, Nick, as well. Think about you're the teacher dealing with a couple years of learning loss. There was just another report about Philadelphia schools and how kids are behind in reading and math, etc. So you have all of this load of work as a teacher, and you're trying to just really help kids. Now this is one more thing you as a teacher could get in trouble for, that you're not enforcing this in the classroom.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
It's madness. It's insanity. All right, 9:36. It's Thursday morning. Let's get to what's on the cut sheet part two.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. What's on the cut sheet part 2? Sponsored by Delaware Valley BMW Centers now through November 30th during the BMW Road Home Sales event. Receive a credit of up to $3,000 on select models like BMW X3 and the X5. For details, visit your local Delaware Valley BMW Center or go to bmwcenters.com. bmwcenters.com. Go there today. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they just announced that News Nation will be the next host for the next GOP primary debate.
News Nation, not Newsmax.
No, News Nation.
Oh, boy.
And it'll be on December 6th in partnership with the CW network. So there'll be dozens of people that tune in for that.
Ratings bonanza.
December 6th, it'll be at the University of Alabama.
Oh.
In the Frank Moody Music Building in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide.
Elizabeth Vargas from News Nation. Washington Free Beacon editor-in-chief Elena Johnson and SiriusXM host Megyn Kelly will be the 3 moderators.
I thought when you said News Nation, we were going to get Cuomo.
It's a good fit.
That's the first thing I thought
Yeah,
of.
it's an interesting. I never thought about it like that, but no, we're not. No Cuomo.
Okay.
What do we think about that?
You
think Trump will join?
No.
That would be a no.
Yeah.
Big no.
You don't think
I do get those too because News Nation they're relatively new, right?
Yeah.
And they copy the colors of Newsmax.
They do.
So they're easy. I think they try to do that on purpose.
Yeah. Newsmax is the conservative one.
But News Nation, not so much.
No, News Nation is more like CNN-ish.
I wanted to go over if you're listening right now and you can go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, because I want to play this video for people. There's audio as well. It's a news report. Dawn brought this up, I think in the 6 and the 7 o'clock hour, Dawn, about this manhunt that's underway in New Jersey for a January 6th protester. You have to see this video. Like it's armed FBI agents in like tactical gear.
It's amazing.
Going what appears to be like a shed or something, trying to get this guy. Go over to YouTube if you want to see this video. It's just Dawn can fill you in more on the details of the story. I just think this is happening in Middlesex County, New Jersey, which is what's that, kind of like Central Jersey? I know there's no Central Jersey.
Well, remember they officially did make a middle Central Jersey.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah.
The Murphy did that.
This is courtesy of the NBC affiliate in New York here. If you want to bring this up.
We're really patrolling the whole property looking for the
Look at this.
suspect. Yet to find that
gear.
Suspect. And again, the FBI is asking
breaking into a
if you know
shed.
anything about the location of Gregory Yetman, please call the FBI field office in Newark at 973-792-3000. And live in Middlesex County, Tom's Wire, Chapter 4. Adam, back to you.
It's literally he's up in a. He's up in a helicopter.
Okay, now it's coming on my end.
He's up in a helicopter, and you can't. Yeah, there's a huge delay.
Yeah, there's German Shepherds. And
It's unbelievable.
There's like 6 or 7 guys in tactical gear.
It's literally what they had for Cavalcante.
Right. And this is now, so January 6th of 2021 to November. This is almost, this is 33 months later. I'm telling you, they're not going to leave any stone unturned. You talk about 41,000 hours of raw footage, and we want to see it. Trust me, they've gone through it, and they're gonna legitimately look like they're hunting this guy down.
He's on the FBI most wanted list.
For what? For what?
He sprayed. Didn't he?
Pepper spraying somebody, allegedly pepper spraying Capitol Police officers.
Okay. And this guy's
January 6, 2021.
And this guy has a military or police background as well.
Yeah,
correct?
National Guard. Served 12 years, honorably discharged.
Yeah, see, I don't like when any officer gets on the receiving end of any sort of physical altercation like that with pepper spray or whatever. But this is even worse when it's coming from a guy who you would think would have respect for officers.
I'm going to start the video over one more time. Guys in the back there, if you want to play it again, and go.
We're really patrolling the whole property looking for the suspect. Yet to find that suspect. And again, the FBI is asking that if you know anything about the location of Gregory
FBI
Yetman,
agents
please call the FBI field
in
office
tactical
in
gear, dogs,
792-3000.
Yeah. Weapons drawn.
Yeah, I mean they go right from
tactical team armed there going in to search a shed in Middlesex County. Tom's Wire over the scene in Chopper 4. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, basically right off the deck into the yard, and then the shed is in the back left corner of the yard by like maybe a tomato garden or something.
This is unbelievable.
Wow.
I don't understand. Now they put out a warrant for his arrest.
Yeah.
But they haven't had a shelter-in-place order or any threat to the community, so they're going after him like he's a major threat. But they didn't say anything to the community about it, as far as hey, be vigilant, be aware, lock your doors. They didn't put that out there like they did Cavalcante.
I don't know. I'm nowadays I'm just always suspicious. So the FBI had questioned him. He had said he didn't do anything violent or anything wrong that day, etc. And then friends are actually being interviewed saying, hey, he talked to the Bureau voluntarily, talked to them, was interviewed, hadn't heard anything from them. And then suddenly now there's a warrant out for his arrest and he's the most wanted man. What's going on here? To me, I think, and this is the skeptical me, I've got to say it, that, Jack Smith, didn't prosecutor Jack Smith, I'm looking through here. I think Jack Smith just filed something this week, didn't he? Counsel Jack Smith, one of the prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
They just filed something this week and they want to make January 6th central to the case with Donald J. Trump.
Of course.
To me, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm horrible for being, suspicious of this, but why don't we, we need some visuals. right?
Well,
We need visuals because
Yeah.
what does the media need? Ooh, we've got a chopper. We've got SWAT-looking teams,
Yeah.
and they're in their camouflage, and they got the big guns, and they're searching
Right.
for an FBI most wanted.
Yeah.
What a great prop and
They
a
look
video
like
prop.
they're trying to track down Saddam Hussein in a little rat hole in Tikrit.
If New York Post has a thing on it because they just started this yesterday, but they have a picture of the guy, and I'm laughing. I wish I could turn this around. He's in a Santa sweater with like a little dinosaur and a Santa hat. I don't know. I don't know what the guy is accused of. Really, has he ever been accused of a violent crime? It's horrible if he pepper sprayed. If he injured any Capitol officer, I get it.
Yeah.
But why did it take all these years? Why now?
Do we know the date where he told his side of the story and how long it's been since? Because I would love to know what new evidence they believe that they have obtained that maybe goes against what he claims was his version of the story. Or
there are some online sleuths. People have been looking through all the video. I'm not seeing any official, and I can't pull up that warrant. They issued a warrant yesterday for his arrest.
Well, this is where I think Mike Johnson has to come through on his word. He said he would release all 41,000 hours. Now, who actually wants to sit down and sit through 41,000 hours of tape? God bless you. But there's people out there with an appetite for it, and they want to see it.
And put it out there, much like Wikipedia, just put it out there for public record.
Yeah.
I think there will be a whole lot of people who look through it, who do look through that video. Yep. We have a right. We paid for it. Let it be. But, in this case, I'm just saying what the feds claim. They claim that this former member of the New Jersey National Guard allegedly tried to pepper spray the officers at Capitol Police on January 6, 2021. They ID him as 46-year-old Greg Yetman, and you can see him there on the video, apparently, picking up a large canister of pepper spray and then pointing it toward officers. But I don't see where you see the reaction or the act. So this is all happening in real time.
Okay.
I'm just giving you what I have.
Wow.
Let me get to this one last quote, or this one last clip before we have to break. Hillary Clinton was on The View yesterday, and the clip that's going around is her saying that, Hitler was duly elected too, and talking about Donald Trump. That's not the clip I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is election denier Joy Behar. When she says this to Hillary Clinton, this is cut 4.
This country has a lot of problems, and the main one is named Donald Trump. Okay, I can't personally believe that this loser has so many people who still think that he could make a decent president. He's been criminally charged with 91 counts. I mean, he's practically got one foot in jail, another one on a banana peel, this guy. And they still say, oh, we still like him. What do you make of that?
Oh, I don't know, Joy. Didn't you just write a play about this?
This is funny. By the way, Mrs. Clinton did win the popular vote.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say.
Right.
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say. Election denier Joy Behar. Lock her up.
Joy Behar, not aware of the Electoral College and the way things work, as the popular vote's basically irrelevant. But I didn't know it was possible to make The View any more unwatchable than it already is. But now we know how you do it. You plop Hillary down in seat 6.
Election denier Joy Behar.
Yeah, it's okay when you deny elections when you're on the left.
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say.
That's right.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Joy Behar.
I don't know.
Bring her up on charges.
I think she's going to start an insurrection on set there.
Where's the FBI? Where's the FBI kicking in her door?
Could you imagine the feds with all their long guns pulled out for Joy Behar?
Then she'd wee her pants.
Oh, I know. All right, we'll come back and wrap it up with who won Twitter and YouTube
and
today.
YouTube.
How about
yes,
that?
Look at us.
We're spreading the wealth.
Yeah,
diversity on the program.
Yeah.
And we'll find out what Dawn has on tap. Stay there. We're back after this.
Gone South, winner of the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award, is back. Laredo, Texas, a border town community where in the fall of 2018, 4 women were found dead. In Season 3 of Gone South, The Sign Cutter, join award-winning producer and journalist Jed Lipinski as he unravels the story behind the manhunt for a serial killer that led to a shocking standoff.
All episodes of Gone South, The Sign Cutter are available now exclusively on the free Odyssey app.
or listen weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. With NJ Diet, it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can shed that fat. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Locations in King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, and Newark, Delaware, or from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or visit NJDiet.com. That's NJDiet.com.
I want to talk to you about Mike Garvey at Pro Health Plans. If you pay for your own health insurance, or if you're looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers, and they will not stop. Instead, call Mike, an expert with over 30 years' experience. He can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there'll be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Mike at 610-529-1106. That's 610-529-1106. Or go to prohealthplans.com. That's prohealthplans.com. They'll custom design a plan managed by you, not the government. Call Mike at 610-529-1106 or prohealthplans.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
You've heard me talk for years about Chapman windows, doors, and siding. I think the world of Mike and Mark Chapman and the Chapman family team, and I love what they've done in my home. New patio doors, took out a wall of windows. The replacement there, it's so beautiful. It's stunning. I get so many compliments. And you know by now, if I needed windows, doors, or siding, I would only trust the Chapman team. So you may not think of Chapman right away for siding and stucco remediation. I would trust nobody else with this investment in your home. If you're thinking of updating your current siding or removing your current stucco and replacing it with siding, think Chapman. With the new updated siding choices available right now, the curb appeal of your home is going to pop. And if you currently have stucco, updating it with those beautiful James Hardie planks or the vinyl siding, think James Hardie siding. It's going to add the value to your home. And if you're looking to sell, yeah, you can bet the buyers are going to value that updated new siding. So now would be a great time to get ahead of the ball. Plan your siding project for 2024. I'm in the midst of this right now. The certified Chapman installers are the professionals you want on the job, the ones I trust. If you are somebody you know, maybe they're looking for windows, doors, siding, shutters, or that hardware, just give them a call or a text, 610-431-8898. They're listening right now, so that's why I say you can text them, you can call, or just visit them online, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
.953, Kayal and Company winding things down here on this Thursday morning as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. We'll find out who won Twitter and YouTube today coming up in just a few moments. But first, 7 minutes out, we find out what Dawn has lined up for the top of the hour.
So yeah, we have to get to the latest on this manhunt, the FBI, the January 6th convention, or the January 6th situation with that search for a most wanted FBI man, and then the connection to the Jack Smith prosecution or persecution of Trump. And we'll let you decide on that one. Coming up at 10:05, Jimmy Fallon of Fox Across America.
Nice.
And he's always on the Gutfeld Show. We love him.
We do.
Right? And here, of course, on PHT, so he rocks it. So he's going to check in with us. Can't wait for Jimmy. And I'm always, we're all honored when he comes on and makes the time for us because the guy's a workaholic.
Yeah, and he's in demand.
It's so true. And then 10:30, Lieutenant Aston Bright is going to check in live from Gaza with the very latest on the crisis in the Middle East. And so we'll talk to him. 11 o'clock in that hour, Julie Balke once again joining us, talking about job and employment trends. We're talking a lot about the economy, consumers. It's really important. So we've got all of that and your favorite, the favorite hits from Dr. Rachel Levine, right here from Pennsylvania to the White House, and how she's helping formulate government policy and what you must do with the pronouns. All of it coming up.
All right, sounds good. As we get to the final episode, well, the final element of today's show, I should say, is sometimes it is an episode. It is Who Won Twitter and YouTube Today.
Who won Twitter?
Do you feel like a monkey at a zoo?
I do.
With everybody kind of coming in and looking at you.
Where are they looking?
I'm going to pull the shades down next time.
We need shades, and it's always everybody goes, and this is where the magic happens. These are the people that put on the product that we sell. Who on Twitter today? Yes. Hassan bin Sober wins Twitter. He says, Nick, my daughter teaches English as a second language and said her students get very confused with these pronouns. They don't understand how a single person can use a plural pronoun. Very good point.
Can you
very
imagine?
good point.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. All right, let's do this.
Who won
YouTube. Who on YouTube is, I'm going to give it to Cycle Bill. Cycle Bill says, should they put litter boxes in restrooms for those identifying as cats?
Wow.
I mean,
why not?
We're identifying as females, so they put tampon dispensers and
jeez.
In
if I identify as a dog, can I go out and lift my leg on a fire hydrant?
I mean, you could.
I guess
Right? That's my defense if anybody tries to arrest me for disorderly conduct or
might
public
get bitten.
urination.
Oh, that's my hydrant. That's my hydrant, buddy.
So there we go. That's who on the social medias of our choosing today.
Okay, there you go. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. Everybody have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. As Karine Jean-Pierre would say,
I'll see you tomorrow. Come talk to me.
For over 4 decades, Kitchen Magic has been transforming ordinary kitchens into extraordinary spaces. Our dedicated team